Opa, 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 dollars Europa. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the one and only early stream over here on Ugopnik Twitch. How are we doing this fine morning, evening / afternoon? Thank you very much, immediately, Nana Shimakato, for the sub over on Twitch. Hello, everybody. Hello, all the beauties over on YouTube, all the beauties over on Twitch. How are we doing, motherfuckers? I, Larpy Slavis here, play some hard bass if you're a real gopnik. Western fucking spy spotted, okay? Cringeoid. The deprogram clips. No, he's not a cringeoid because he's apparently going to make me clips for TikTok, so whatever. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I wanted to try something different for one of the streams during the week. I want to stream during the day while I'm actually fresh and up and normal looking and normal feeling instead of streaming in the middle of the night as we always do. It is very interesting to see some of the regulars here in chat as always. It's as if you guys, are online nonstop. I appreciate the lack of grass touching. It is very much so supported by the superior class, which will one day dominate the world, and that is of Twitch streamers. I slept in so hard today. I woke up at like 11. I usually wake up at 9 or 10, even if I go to bed very late. Yesterday I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn up until like 3 a.m. after the stream finished at around midnight almost. So excuse me if it takes me half an hour or an hour to actually become a normal human being again. But it doesn't mean that we don't have very interesting topics to cover today. Probably the stream is not going to be attended by as many people as usual because, let's face it, Americans are pretty much the entirety of the internet and like 70% of my viewership. But it doesn't mean we can't learn something, have some fun amongst ourselves, and enjoy a good old motherfucking Friday before the weekend kicks in. Right before the Monday, which you should all remember. You do not hate Mondays, you hate capitalism. So, what do I have in store for you? Many, many things. We're going to talk about the forbidden word here on Twitch, incels. Apparently, I couldn't put it in the name. That was very interesting. We're going to talk about Nietzsche. We're going to talk about fascism. Thank you very much, Moros1917, for the resub. Welcome back, my friend. We talk about fascism, but we're also going to talk about general internet topics that at least I find interesting, like the sports betting industry. And the video will probably start with that Betterhelp is apparently back on YouTube, which I remember back in my day, Betterhelp was, completely canceled from the internet for being a very shabby service that doesn't really contribute too much. Quite to the contrary, a service that a lot of people which wanted to find a therapist used because they couldn't afford a regular physical therapist to go to physical therapy in, and it ended up really scamming quite a few people out of both of their money, but sometimes also out of their, much more importantly, mental health. Unfortunately, those two very often come together. In fairness, I took like a 3.5 hour nap before going out, Nanashimakoto. Yeah, that's I do the same. We'll talk about fascist incels or fascists or incels separately. Very often they are co-aligned. We'll watch a video. I found it's interesting. Nightmare level incels, which probably is some of the worst, the creme de la crop of the so-called movement. Which will allow us to delve a bit deeper into this rather controversial topic that's been talked about into like fucking oblivion, but why not cover it? But before we start that, let's do a quick update on what is happening in Gaza. Most of you are online and have seen probably on Twitter the horrendous murder that I cannot show here of 4 or 5 Israeli civilians that were walking through their absolutely annihilated city, walking over the road that no longer exists because Israeli bulldozers completely removed it, trying to see if their homes are still standing, maybe trying to see if some of their missing relatives and family are still alive. And we have very specific drone footage that you can Google yourself. I do not recommend it, but I'm not going to show it here on screen, where Israelis quite literally, while seeing that these are completely unarmed men just walking down a street, we can see the Israelis proceed to completely annihilate them on the spot. One of them survives, starts running away. The bombardment gets recalibrated and hits him, leaving him literally in pieces all over the ground. As potential conversations about a ceasefire come closer and closer, as we've talked about yesterday with the U.S. resolution being pushed forward, we can really expect the Israelis to amp up their mass murder to like 11, so that they can get as much ethnic cleansing done as they can before this horrible thing that is happening potentially comes to a close, or at least a pause. So yeah, very, very unfortunate events happening right in front of our eyes, but I'm pretty sure we can be at least a little bit hopeful with the recent development of events. But okay, let's check out Al Jazeera, as we always do here, and see what they have to say. Israeli raid on Al Shifa hospital from 3 hours ago. Palestinians flee facility in search for safety.
With nothing but the clothes on their backs and a few bags of belongings, these Palestinians are on the move once again. After finding shelter from Israeli attacks inside Gaza's Al Shifa hospital, they've now been forced out of a place they thought was safe.
KKF clips, is your hairline back? Man, my hairline's always been okay. My fucked up part about my hairline, I'll immediately show you this so you don't fuck with me in the future. You see this? You see how it's slowly fucking, thinning out right here? It was thinning out like crazy back when I was doing my fucking corporate job. And now that I quit it and fully do exclusively what I actually would like to do in life, it's slowly coming back. So what I'm saying is, chat, thank you very much. You are literally contributing to the renewal of my beautiful, beautiful hairline, okay? But I'm getting old. And with old age and extra testosterone to play around with, hair tends to get lost, okay? Maybe I should start taking some hormone therapy. Yeah, it's surprising just how good like Google ads have been ever since I've been complaining about my motherfucking hairline. It's been throwing ads at me with all of these like semi conspiratorial products that are supposed to help me grow it back. We all know that doesn't work necessarily. But we'll see if my switch in career, actually not switch, this has always been my career, but like hyper focus on this aspect of my career hopefully helps. My phone rang, I apologize, for my hairline to fully come back into its original Chad construction. But okay, let's get back on topic. What's happening in Al Shifa?
There are wounded and killed people, unbearable scenes. The situation at Al Shifa is very, very difficult, beyond imagination.
Israeli troops launched their raid on Al Shifa hospital in the early hours of Monday morning. Once the Strip's largest medical facility, health officials in Gaza estimate thousands of civilians and patients were sheltering there before the latest attack.
Suddenly, at 2:30 a.m., we heard the bombardments. At 6 o'clock in the morning, they started announcing that nobody should move.
Thank you, that red Fash Tanky. What a beautiful name for the $5 Australian. Keep up the good work, dude. Thank you very much, my friend.
No one is to go out.
Oh yeah, we might get some Australians here now because of the time we're actually streaming at. That's fun. That's fun. I still believe you guys don't exist, but still, welcome.
Not to open windows. Nothing was allowed. We couldn't even cook anything for the children.
Israel says during its raid...
What's your the best book about the history of Zionism in your opinion? There's a few. Go to Hakim's YouTube channel, and he has made a video specifically outlining the best reading you can do when it comes to Palestine. He's a man from the region, so I would defer to him. He has a very good video where he outlines what you should read if you would like to know more about the Israeli occupation. And thank you, Chaotic Vibes, for the sub through Prime. Welcome to the community, baby.
Raid on Al-Shifa, it has killed dozens of people and interrogated hundreds of suspects, transferring many to Israel for further investigation.
They started with the emergency section. They asked the men to come down. Some young men did not comply. They were told that this way they are risking their lives. Those who do not come down would be executed. Truly,
we need to remember that they also arrested and beat the shit out of 4 or 5 Al Jazeera journalists. They were sitting in a room that was specifically titled, like set as the press room. They were all wearing their press jackets. They were arrested. They were not let go for over 48 hours. They were forced to lay in the cold completely naked and humiliated. They were not given any water or food, after which obviously a lot of pressure was put forward because, again, these are journalists, etc., and some of them were let go. If this is how they treat people who literally have, a huge media house behind them, you can only imagine how they treat regular Palestinian men, women, and children that are sitting in a fucking hospital, mind you, okay, in a fucking hospital. And as an excuse for why they are doing this is because there are some Hamas militants around the area, quote unquote. There has been, one needs to admit, some fighting, but it's been, I think, over 2 kilometers away from Al-Shifa. But that gives them a perfect pretense because these guys are not not exactly here to give up on any excuse for them to terrorize the local population, because as we know, as we've said 700 million times at this point, this is an ethnic cleansing campaign which intends to resettle almost all of Gaza, or if not resettle, at least expunge as much of the Palestinian population as they can. And by expunge, I literally mean remove them from their land, combined with quite literally murdering those who choose not to leave.
this is exactly what happened with most young men. Tortured with electric shocks, stripped them of their clothes, tied their hands behind their backs. I don't know what to say.
And for those who weren't detained by Israeli forces, escaping the medical facility presented its own challenges.
The way we got out was a miracle. We slipped past the snipers. Only God knows how we managed to get out.
For now, the search for safety is taking these Palestinians south along Gaza's coastal road. But with Israel threatening a ground operation in Rafah, finding refuge is becoming increasingly difficult. Jacob Brown, Al Jazeera.
Make sure to subscribe to our
Yes,
channel
when
to
you
get the latest
completely
news.
annihilate infrastructure, and on top of the annihilation of literal homes in which people live, with the removal of access to food, water, etc., and with obviously mind-blown but constant bombardment, you push people away. But sometimes there are a few areas in which instead of them running, this is not only present in Gaza, this has been present in almost any ethnic cleansing operation, people that say, okay, I need to find a safe space, they go to where? They go to schools, they go to any underground areas possible, or they go to hospitals, churches, and mosques. That is why it's been a very imperative kind of push by the IOF, let's call them IDF, I guess, to make sure that the local population understands that these places are not safe, okay? They've calculated just how much negative PR they're going to get by annihilating these places versus how impactful it is when it comes to forcing the population to move literally out of the cities and further south. When you know that there's absolutely no safe place in your town, including fucking hospitals, mosques, or churches, then you will most definitely move or accept your fate and choose death. And that is why they continuously keep hitting these particular areas, no matter how much negative PR they get out of it, because again, they've calculated that it's worth it, because it's literally the key part of a policy of ethnic cleansing, which again, the most important thing is to remove the local population. You don't have to kill all of them, especially if you push them out.
After months of divisions in the bloc on Gaza, EU leaders at a summit in Brussels finally agreed on a common position.
Let's see what the white people of sophisticated, advanced Europe have to think about this. Look at these presentable human beings meeting and talking about what is happening in Gaza as if it's I don't know, a gathering where we talk about Hoi 4 and together with the bros over on Discord and how we're going to create USSR 2, right? Jesus fucking Christ, man. These are the most detached human beings on planet Earth, and them being Europeans doesn't really fucking help.
Consensus of
at all. As a European, a proud Eastern European, I can very much so tell you that people working in center right, or center left organizations in the European Union are almost as detached from the reality of struggling people all over the world than their American compatriots. But you know what else is completely detached from reality? Twitch. And it's fucking pushing of the ad agenda. An ad is going to play in exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds. But if you would like to have an adless experience and support the show, please do consider becoming a sub. $5 per month or free through Prime. Have an adless experience and support the show. Thank you kindly. I pause as many ads as I potentially can, but obviously our overlord Jeff Bezos doesn't allow that to continue indefinitely.
Tonight is that we need an immediate humanitarian pause leading to a sustained ceasefire, the unconditional release of hostages, and the provision.
Okay, they're starting to talk about it very publicly after their overlords from the U.S. started also talking about it. We talked about this plenty yesterday. This is to why is the U.S. now calling for a ceasefire? Multiple potential reasons. Number one, they are saying that the ceasefire can only happen if all the hostages are released. The black pill we can take about this is that if all the hostages are released and there is another pretense for Israel to restart the war, because again the US is not calling for a permanent ceasefire, they will be able to fuck up the entire fucking strip with even more intensity, because at that point the more moderate wing of the Israeli populace will be even more up for it, because the only argument that the moderate aspect of the Israeli populace voting body at least is against the continuous complete annihilation of Gaza is because hostages might die. So if hostages are removed from the situation and another pretense for Israel to stop the ceasefire, if it is ever achieved, restarts can lead to even more horrific events. Number one. Number two is because the United States has elections very, very soon, and the Democratic Party understood that if they don't at least do something about this, the massive rise of pro-Palestinian sentiment in the country will very much so hurt their election results. We've seen 7 to 8% of all of the voters of the Democratic Party, which are the most hardline supporters of the Democratic Party, choosing to vote none of the above, pretty much, out of support for their for the Palestinian cause. And we can imagine the hundreds of thousands of people that are not so hardline, brainwashed them, people that chose not to vote at all because of exactly what is happening. So that is the second reason why they're doing this. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their heart. And number three is so that they can be on the negotiating table once this ethnic cleansing campaign comes to the close, because they will be able to say, hey, look, we actually did something. We passed a ceasefire. We called for a ceasefire resolution, etc., even after they have rejected like 5 ceasefire resolutions that were supported by pretty much 95% of the planet previously. Thank you very much, Entropy Inverse, for the gifted sub. Thank you kindly. And thank you, 420 Blushed, for the 1 month, 1-tier sub. Thank you. Welcome to the community. We will see how this stream goes, and maybe. Thank you, Witchaethra, for the 100 cheers. Maybe we will make this a constant, at least for our Australian, European, Asian, and African brothers and sisters who tune in at this time. Let's see how the stream goes, and that's going to pretty much influence my mentality on when to stream, etc., etc. But yes, now we see the Europeans also slightly adjusting their rhetoric when it comes to a potential ceasefire, etc.
The unconditional release of hostages is
agreed on a common position.
the consensus of tonight is that we need an immediate humanitarian pause leading to a sustained ceasefire, the unconditional release of hostages.
The rhetoric is switching. The motherfucking rhetoric is switching. The Israelis are eating fucking shit. The rhetoric is switching.
And the provision of humanitarian assistance.
It was the first time since the start of the war that all 27 member states backed a ceasefire. They also called on Israel not to undertake its planned invasion of Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinians are sheltering in desperate conditions.
Situation is
this compared to 3-4 months ago when they were only talking about the unadulterated fucking pure support that is going to be given to Israelis who quote unquote have the right to defend itself. Show one thing that all of you that actually went out on the streets or made even influential commentary online, that it's working, that you actually do have power, and that these fucking suited up little motherfucking cunts that preside over us in the interests of the bourgeoisie, etc., eventually have to listen when the support is so outpouring and so massive and so strong. Even little libs and conservatives of the European Union start switching up their opinion towards the colonial project, which is commonly known as Israel. So be proud of yourself. Obviously, a lot more needs to be done, but let's get a little bit of hope pill, because for these guys whose entire fucking political ideology is so deeply rooted in Western expansionism, which in the Middle East is quite literally defined through the colonial state of Israel, is a good sign. For them to even say words like this is extreme, is very extreme for them. So yeah, bit of hope pilling here, okay?
It's dramatic. I mean, we see today people who are trying to feed themselves by eating grass, people who are on the verge of being in a famine.
The catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza has forced EU leaders to harden their tone when it comes to Israel, marking a change from previous summits.
Certainly Israel has the right to defend, not to revenge, defend.
Massive fucking switch. And these guys have talked to like 700 lawyers and 300 PR companies on what to say in order to not piss off the staunchly pro-Israel part of the European Union population. And even in that context, you see that they are very much so starting to switch up the talk, because they see they fucked up. They see they fucked up not because many people died. These fucking ghouls do not give a shit. They see they fucked up because of all the people in the streets, because of the change in their poll results, etc., etc. A liberal here might make an argument, oh, there you go, representative capitalist democracy actually works. No, it would work. You know when it would have worked? If we didn't lose 30,000 fucking civilians. That's when it would have fucking worked. Jesus Christ. Thank you very much, Cabbage Spilla, for donating a sub, and ZWIPSS for giving out 5 community subs. Nobody's watching ads up in here. Thank you kindly. Thank you, and welcome to the community. For those of you joining us today, we stream 3-4 times a week. When you follow here on Twitch, you can see the schedule, which always gets updated.
Certainly, we support the right of Israel to defend. But we say at the same time that it has to be done in accordance with international law and humanitarian law.
Ukraine.
Oh my God, mind-blowing. They actually need to follow international law. The fact that he gets to say this sentence implies that up until now, it was de facto accepted that a Western project such as Israel or the United States or any other imperial power, that they do not have to follow international law, because them being Western de facto makes them more civilized, quote unquote, and de facto would follow it. You need to do insanely fucked up shit for a continuous amount of time for these types of ghouls to actually come up and say, yo, holy shit, hey guys, remember that international law thing, which here on Ugopnik Twitch we call a Santa Claus for adults? It also applies to you, it also applies to you. So very monumental switch, in my opinion. I might be being a bit too optimistic here. We'll see how this materially manifests in actual policies against Israel to stop them from continuing this. But we all need to also remember that Israel, especially now, Israel throughout its history cannot exist without billions and billions of dollars being poured into it by the West. But especially now, when they do not have, when they've lost a huge chunk of their, menial labor, which are Palestinians, which are now completely kicked out of everything that is defined as Israel, with companies continuously leaving Israel, and with also their own working population, the members of the IDF who have now been mobilized, not being able to work. These guys are bleeding so much fucking money on the daily basis. So any sort of continuous stoppage of funding going into Israel makes it even more unstable and makes it even more unlikely for them to continue their both their direct occupation and it encourages also the local Israeli population to maybe not want this to continue, not because they care about Palestinians, but because it might be impacting their everyday life, their brunches. Okay, you cannot attack the sanctity of the brunch.
Was also on the agenda. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the summit by video link. EU leaders promised to step up military support for Kyiv and possibly use profits from frozen Russian assets to buy weapons. They also agreed on the need to bolster the bloc.
Also, because it's early, I'm not sure if any of my beautiful, beautiful mods are here. In case you are, please do consider adjusting my titles as we go through the topics. Thank you very kindly.
Defense capabilities and rely less on NATO.
Nous avons, avec ces décisions prises aujourd'hui,
we have today stated our determination to reinforce the pillar of European security and defence within the EU and looked at how we can finance it.
The EU has been criticised by some for having double standards in its different approaches to Ukraine and Gaza. But as leaders wrapped up the first day of their summit, they were at pains.
Oh, I wonder why. Maybe because one is directly connected to their interests and the other one is also directly connected to their interests, but in the opposite way. Again, these ghouls do not care about Ukrainian lives, Russian lives, or Palestinian lives, or even to an extent Israeli lives either. They look at states as little points on the map that need to be encouraged when it comes to their future state interests and capitalist interests being proliferated or not. That is everything that guides this. You think they give a fuck about the Israelis that died on October 7th? You haven't met a high-ranking politician in your fucking life. Okay, or you haven't read a history book. And that's a particular problem that I'm mentioning of the European Union, because people in the European Union have extra liberal opinions of their leadership, where they genuinely think that these are like sanctimonious people that are here for the international European project, and they actually believe in human rights and the betterment of the world, etc., etc. Those of us who study under the banner of Marxism know that that is unfortunately not the case. And while the European Union in its internationalist ideals is very beautiful and something that should be encouraged, it is still corrupted from the inside by the class dichotomy and by pretty much equalizing the free market and the wealthy getting wealthier and wealthier with said previously defined human liberty and peace, you know.
To underline that in both conflicts, the bloc expected all sides to adhere to the rules of international law. Natasha Butler, Al Jazeera, Brussels.
Al Jazeera,
Make sure
Brussels.
to subscribe to our channel.
Al Jazeera, Brussels. Palestinian rock climbing. Climbers practice despite Israeli checkpoint. UN World Water Development Report. Let's see. And what is happening
This
with
is a
water in
UN
Gaza.
flagship report on the state of the world's freshwater resources, and it doesn't paint a pretty picture. Today, 2.2 billion people live without access to safely
Well, this is
managed.
in general, not just in Gaza. Jesus Christ. You know a system is working very well when 2.2 billion people don't have fucking water. Fucking water. What Mother Nature or God, whatever you believe in, has given all of us equally. But no, 2.2 billion people do not have access to water. Those are the marks of an extremely successful system, okay? But remember, your Amazon deliveries come on time. Remember this. I remember one little mustached guy that excused his fucking behavior because his trains ran on time.
Is drinking water, and approaching half of the world's population do not have adequate or safe sanitation. Indeed, in poorer countries, up to 90% of wastewater is discharged directly into the environment.
And that particular video of it being discharged is them discharging wastewater into the Gaza Sea.
Without treatment. Every single day around the world, 1,000 children die from illnesses caused by contaminated.
Also, congratulations, we just hit 9,000 followers on Twitch in less than 2 months. That is fucking ridiculous. Bravo. Bravo to you, chat. That's thanks to you.
Drinking water. All this drives migration as millions move in search of fresh and safe supplies, adding further strain on resources where the migrants settle, fueling social tensions. An armed conflict can have near catastrophic impacts on civilian water infrastructure. Think of the targeted attacks on storage and treatment plants in Ukraine, in Gaza, and in Sudan. As climate change adds
Which
to
are
the
all absolutely horrible, etc., but in comparison to, for example, companies like Nestle, which have turned water into a literal commodity, it is insane. Dude, just the meme that we can take water and make it into a commodity is fucking demented. Absolutely fucking demented.
Strain on water supply, the UN report calls for a global effort to provide water equally for everyone. It is, after all, a human right.
Make sure to subscribe.
But no,
to
we'll
our
start
channel to
taking
get the
that
link.
away, just like everything else. God, we talked yesterday about Blinken meeting Arab officials, etc., etc. Let's catch up on some more news before we move into the other aspect. Airstrike in Jenin, Israeli raid kills 8 in occupied West Bank. We also
a fresh poster of 9
really shouldn't forget, which I doubt anybody here in chat forgets, that as the horrors of Gaza continue, the horrors over in the occupied West Bank in no way are faltering behind.
19-year-old Mohammed Salhiya shot.
Yeah, Liar Judah 666, great name. People literally used to joke about it in the 90s about water. One day they'll commodify water. And right now we're fucking memeing about, dude, one day they're gonna have like canned air, like canned purified air when they fucking destroy our environment for their own greedy purposes. And it's like, ha ha ha, that's such a meme. Let's talk in 20 years. Okay? Let's talk in 20 years and see if that doesn't become motherfucking reality. God fucking damn it, man.
Down in his youth. His face joins the scores of posters of those previously killed in Israeli raids, all a reminder of the grief and violence the people of this camp have suffered for decades.
Anytime the Israeli army storms any Palestinian area, deaths follow. We are talking about Jenin, Tubas, and today Al-Am'ari. The bleeding continues and the deaths continue because the Israeli government gave the green light to the army to kill young people who reject the occupation.
Exactly, and right now it's like a perfect moment. It's like a diseased animal that feeds itself on its own carcass, that Israel is. Because all the eyes are on Gaza and the horrors they do there, instead of saying, oh my God, like everybody's pointing out just how fucked up our policies are, not just policies are outwards, like fucking military genocide. And instead of concentrating on maybe not doing that anymore, they say, okay, all the eyes are over there, so we can do equally fucked up shit over where all the eyes are not. And this on a more global scale when it comes to the United States with particular conflict zones that especially the American voting body is concentrated on, allows them to do extremely fucked up shit in other places. As we've seen with, for example, occupation of Iraq, while it was happening and all eyes were on Iraq, they proliferated the insane shit they were doing in Afghanistan as well. It's, again, a disgusting animal feeding on the carcasses of its enemies and becoming bigger, so it starts being its stomach expands and its hunger increases, and due to nobody being able to tell it, hey, maybe you should take a break from eating, it continues eating. Talking about eating, we all gotta eat, and an ad is going to play in exactly 30 seconds. If you would like to avoid those here on Twitch and support the channel, consider becoming a Prime sub for free or for $5 through Prime. In 20 seconds, an ad will play. If you want to avoid those, please do consider supporting the show.
Al-Amari was raided during the early hours of Wednesday morning. Mohammed was on the outskirts of the camp as the army began to withdraw. It was there he was...
Thank you, Dollar Store Leftist. That's a fucking great name for the Prime sub. Welcome to the community, my friend.
Subscriber.
Shot in the head.
A somber atmosphere here in Al-Amari refugee camp. The body of Mohammed Salhiha currently inside the mosque where they're holding prayers. He's also being carried by his friends and family to his mother's house where she's got to say a final goodbye, and then he'll be buried inside the cemetery in Al-Bira.
Mohammed was born a refugee. The camp was built in 1949 after Israel was established, and more than 700,000 Palestinians were expelled from their homes. It wasn't the only camp that suffered from a night of violence during Israeli raids. Nur Shams refugee camp in Tulkarem was the worst hit. 4 Palestinians killed, 2 in an Israeli airstrike and 2 by live bullets. Israeli forces tore up the streets and destroyed infrastructure with armoured bulldozers. And before midnight in Jenin, an Israeli airstrike targeted a car, killing 3 Palestinians. 2 were fighters from the Jenin battalion. More funerals held, and all too familiar...
Oh, thank you very much, BMUNDT, for the sub through Prime. Welcome, my friend. What kind of commentary am I supposed to give you to this? You know exactly everything that I'm going to say. And one day they wonder why the Palestinian people react with violent fervor against their occupiers when this is everything that they do on a daily fucking basis. Thank you, Entropy Inverse, for the gifted sub. Hello, my friend. Thank you very much.
Site in this city. Anger turned towards the Palestinian Authority that was holding what the people call political prisoners. In the chaos that followed, security forces shot towards the crowds, injuring dozens of people. Back in Al-Bira, Mohammed's friends and family march with his body to his final resting place.
Like an allegory I use here as somebody who's except a few bombings and a little bit of war, haven't seen even 1% of the struggle that the Palestinian people go through. The allegory for you guys who join us during this stream might not know about. Back in my day, when I was a kid, and somebody would beat the shit out of one of my friends, just beat the shit out of them, we would gather 20 dudes and go and beat the living shit out of them. The need for some justice, even amongst fucking teenagers that have a friend who was hurt by another group of teenagers, led us to great violence in our own little context, etc., etc. How am I supposed to sit here and look at people whose friends, mothers, daughters, sons, uncles, grandfathers are killed on a daily fucking basis, neighbors are killed on a daily fucking basis, and expect them not to react in violent fervor? I cannot sit here and do this, okay? I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Witchethra, for the 100 bits. Thank you, Kuda76, for the sub. And thank you, Comrade Lissilon, for the sub through Prime. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for the hype train.
Now it's time to say goodbye. but they are all too aware that the waves of violence will continue. Laura Khan, Al Jazeera,
Yeah, they're not perfect victims, Ufiji. Exactly. No, they should just sit there and take it forever, so that they can have what, the moral high ground. Oh my God, they lost the moral high ground on October 7th. There is no moral high ground when half of the people you fucking know are dead. Okay. Violence is like a hammer. You can build a house with it, or you can destroy it. Violence does not pertain moral attributes. Violence is violence. It does not exist in a vacuum, and it is exhibited for a particular cause or as a reaction to something else. And whenever we see it, even by so-called terrorist groups, etc., while we might not disagree with their action, we need to ask, okay, how do we create a world in which this does not happen? And that is not the war on terror, etc. It is quite literally looking at why they did it and not doing that shit again, or at least relatively adjusting policy. And this is liberal Ugopnik talking right now. Extremely fucking mediocre fucking solutions to very real and very serious problems. But okay, that has been the news update for the day. Basically, shit is going down, continues to go down a very dark path, but at least we are seeing a shift in rhetoric over in good old bad old West when it comes to the 51st state of the United States, Israel. Let us hope that this push continues and harden the fight, my brothers, as they say. Now we move into a genuine internet conversation. Chill the fuck out a little bit. It is a Friday anyways, right, chat? Let me talk about things that to an extent don't really matter, but are still an interesting, wider ideological conversation, especially one that is kind of in my field of relative expertise, and that is advertising. Apparently, YouTube's worst sponsorship, Betterhelp, is back. Let's see what the fuck is going on. They tell us always, oh my God, once you're canceled, you can't get back. This platform, which quite literally ripped people off who wanted to find help with their mental health, a company that both exploited therapists and its own clientele. I remember 3-4 years ago was completely booed off of this platform. But apparently, you know where that is from? Apparently, I love this video. This is like the cutest kid on planet Earth. Like this is, what apparently Jack would fuck off. This is the cutest fucking child on planet Earth. I swear to God.
What did you think about the ride?
Probably all of you know this, but still, let's get some wholesomeness up in here.
I've never been on live television before. What? Apparently, sometimes I don't watch the news because I'm a kid, and apparently Grandpa just gives me the remote after we watch the Powerball.
Powerball.
Tell me about the ride. What did you think about the ride? Well, it was great. Why? Because apparently you're spinning around, and apparently every time you get dizzy.
Dude, this kid can be a great fucking streamer, okay? He can just talk shit that most likely makes absolutely no sense, but just continuously talk. True, what do you call it? Show of potential skill in this future successful career of screaming into a microphone, eh?
Yeah. That's all you do is get dizzy. Is it fun? Yeah. And I've never ever been on live television. I never ever be on live television. Are you excited? Yeah, and apparently I only went.
You know how there's usually a delay between what you think and what you're capable of saying? With this kid, it's absolutely non-existent. Like, his mind and his mouth is directly connected. If he thinks, for example, horses, I love pink horses that run down the field and then they eat the grass, and the grass is very tasty and they become unicorns. Oh my God, it's a unicorn. Oh my God, apparently it's a unicorn. The unicorn is in front of me. Like, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful young mind. yet to be spoiled by immense amounts of anxiety and unnecessary information that will completely swamp his mind and not allow him to be this fresh talking, like the very direct motherfucker without at least help of, I don't know, ADHD medication or fucking Xanax and shit.
Down the super slide.
He is Lisan Al-Gaib. That is so right. Half to death.
I just freak out.
Okay. What? I need his name. Hold on. Yep. Hold on. I'm just gonna ask him. What's his name? Noah. What's your last name?
Dick Ritter.
How do you spell his last name?
Ritter. R-I-T-T-E-R.
Okay. Where are you guys
And
from?
look how cute he is, but he has the name of like Lisan Al-Gaib, Dick Ritter, Derek Ritter. I have no idea what he wanted to say, but sounds like like those original names that eventually become great leaders of peoples. I hope this beautiful ginger boy is doing okay, and that one day he comes and saves us from our slow running brains. Speaking of slow running brains, let's get back to the conversation about Betterhelp, which is supposed to apparently help us with our slow running brains, but most likely doesn't. Yeah, he's Muad'Dib, Noah the Dark Lord, Noah Al-Gaib, Noah the Riddler, Noah the Riddler. That's fucking good. Okay, let's get on topic. Let me just move off frame and drink my coffee. I bought this really nice cup. Look at how nice these cups are. Like they are like from the outside glass, but then from the inside there's another glass in them. Very nice, like $10. Very good, nice glasses.
Full of cereal. Better help yourself to a seat and some cereal, because today we're in for a wild ride. Sponsorships. They're everywhere these days. They're in your closet.
This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is one of the most...
They're in your backyard.
Go to established-titles.com/Calvin and Habs.
They're even in your cereal. And I'm completely fine with that. I don't mind creators.
Which, especially like sponsorships, is such a weird thing when you talk about revolutionary Marxism online and shit, because you will literally be talking. But you need not only bread, but you need money in order to make these videos better and longer and more common, etc., etc. But it's always very weird, and I'm never going to get unused from it by saying the violence of capital. Put down on the everyday working man allows him to use violence against them as a method of self-defense. Also, this video has been sponsored by Betterhelp. If you want to, that is always so fucking detached for me and so weird. But hey, if they're gonna throw money at us, let's fucking take it. Click those fucking links and use the rope that they're selling us to hang them with.
Promoting a brand deal if that means that they can give me better content. But there is one service, one company which has clawed its way back from the depths it was cast into 6 years ago. A company that seemingly caused most of my favorite YouTubers to experience a memory blackout and forgot all about their first scandal back in 2018, and that is Betterhelp.
The fact that the market wants to commodify everything to such an extent that a bunch of people sat in a boardroom and they were like, let's make a corporate product that we can sell to people who are struggling with mental health is almost as demented as our previous conversation about access to water, my friend. Like, Jesus Christ, we are so fucking doomed, bro. The worst timeline, I swear to God.
Betterhelp? Betterhelp me not get a cease and desist letter from their lawyers after I release this.
Also, speaking of Betterhelp, all of you beauties listening over on YouTube, this show will eventually exclusively run on Twitch, so I do encourage you to come and follow over here and watch together with my favorite child, Twitch chat. You are also my child, but let's be honest, my second favorite one. Here, similar to Israel, we run an apartheid. And in this apartheid, Twitch gets everything. Especially if you want to see yourself up there in the actual video and me react to your comments, etc. Thank you. Mwah.
Video, like other YouTubers have.
This company.
Better help yourself get over on Twitch. The links are in the description. Thank you kindly.
hired, I'm assuming, very expensive lawyers. I got a very strongly worded cease and desist letter from Betterhelp.
For the people who don't know Betterhelp, well, first of all, thank you, because that means that this is the first YouTube video you've watched in the past 6 years. And I appreciate that. Because today, almost every creator is sponsored by it, even the ones I love. Mr. Ballin, The Try Guys, Jax Films, Nick Crawley, Jubilee, and so many more. Betterhelp is a 24/7 online therapy service. They promise easily accessible therapy with licensed therapists.
Dude, chat, what the fuck? Chat, what the fuck? Wait, go to my... Sorry for interrupting, I genuinely apologize. But am I a partner now? Did they just make me a partner? I think they just made me a Twitch partner. What the fuck? Wait. Oh. Ha! What the fuck, guys? That's so nice. What the fuck? I have the thing. I have the little thing. What? What the fuck, bro? What? What? It says partner. Look. What? What the fuck? So unexpected. The fuck? While I was streaming? What the actual shit? Nice. Thank you, Catterbug, for the sub for 1 month. Nice. I thought this takes people years to achieve.
Subscriber.
What the fuck? Okay. Nice. I guess I now need to be more careful with what I say, but damn, okay. Thank you. Thank you for the congrats, everybody. Thank you kindly. Wow, lol. Well, that made my day. Nice. Jeff Bezos approval. Tap myself on the back and tap you, chat, on the back. Bravo. Damn. Okay. Wait, I don't know how to react to this. What the fuck? Nice. Yeah. That's cool. That's very cool. And thank you, all you beauties from YouTube that have migrated. I've seen the number jump. Thank you kindly. What the fuck? Okay. Hell yeah. Nice. Okay. Thank you, XProm DateX, for the sub. Thank you very kindly, my friend.
A new child soldier. Subscriber.
I didn't see that coming. Jesus Christ. Okay. Twitch, I guess, really is being taken over by the communists. Damn. Hey, Twitch. Thank you. That's nice. It's very nice. Holy shit. Thank you, Matt DGE704 for the sub very kindly. And thank you, Diet Coke Comrade, one of my favorite names on here, for the sub. Welcome to the community. Jesus Christ.
Wonderful. A new child
Very
soldier.
nice.
Subscriber.
Wow. I'm blushing. Sorry. I'll get back to it, but I didn't see this coming at all. I didn't see this coming at all, man. And thank you, Sapatra, for the sub. Thank you very much. Damn. Wasanabe heads at Twitch HQ, I guess. Yeah. Wow. Okay, this is a thing. Fuck yeah. Wow. Again, thank you all. This wouldn't be possible without you. Like, literally. Poof. Jesus Christ. Oh, Jocula, the legend. Thank you very much for the 5 community gift subs. All of you coming over from YouTube will not watch any fucking ads, because the Twitch, my favorite Twitch child, is throwing shit at you. Thank you, Jocula. Hvala ti puno, brat. Nice.
Wonderful.
Okay.
A new child
Wow,
soldier. Subscriber.
Sorry, I'm a bit, what the fuck? How did this happen? Oh, breathe. You're live. You're live, dude. You're a professional guy doing things, saying things in the microphone. Thank you, Chihuahua Boy 1 for the sub. Thank you kindly. Okay, better to the topic. And thank you, Tenjini V, for the sub. Jesus Christ, you guys are very nice today. Thank you. Whew, okay, this felt nice. Yeah. Shit. Okay, I guess we're doing this Twitch thing permanently, I guess. Goddamn. Time to drink vodka, not this early in the day, my brother. Brother. Nice. Okay, let's get back to the topic. Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay. Damn, that's pretty fucking cool.
For an arguably cheap price. They're like Fiverr, but for mental health. And if that sounds like a terrible idea to you, don't worry. That's because it is. The company has been...
This especially wouldn't be possible without my beautiful mods, which at this point I think have saved me from a ban 100 times, man. The amount of pings when I say something controversial that explode over on my Discord, the chat with my mods is absolutely wild. And thank you BKR Minis for the sub. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move a bit back so we see what this gentleman is talking about. Very handsome gentleman, Jesus
Wonderful,
Christ.
a new
Very
child
handsome
soldier,
man.
subscriber.
Right, guys, Jax Films, Nick Raleigh, Jubilee, and so many more. Betterhelp is a 24/7 online therapy service. They promise easily accessible therapy with licensed therapists.
Wonderful, a new child soldier, subscriber.
Price. They're like Fiverr, but
Thank
for
you,
mental
10GNV, for the sub if I missed you.
health. And if that sounds like a terrible idea to you, don't worry, that's because it is. The company has been in scandal after scandal after scandal for the past 6 years. Some of you might remember that back in 2018, countless of creators...
Jesus, 2018, that was 6 years ago. I was saying like 3-4 years ago, Betterhelp was in the scandal 6 years ago.
A new child soldier,
Chat, I am fucking old. I am so fucking old, chat. God damn it, bro.
Also being sponsored by Betterhelp, until their first scandal came to light. Remember when I mentioned that they promised licensed therapists? Well, in 2018, the only license they had was for being stinky little liars.
I also forgot PewDiePie existed. Does PewDiePie still do shit? I completely forgot he existed. I used to watch him religiously up until my boy was dropping the N-word and doing Jew jokes. That's when even young Ugopnik was like, yeah, I'm done with this fucking freak. Our winter trip, how a Reddit post changed my life. Okay, so he's doing vlogs. Yeah, he's a vlog. One would think that just being a regular gamer was cliche, but no, my boy is vlogs. Okay, you do you. 111 million subs. Jesus fucking Christ.
And private online therapy with a professional. They don't guarantee the verification of the skills.
What, he lives in Japan? Jesus fucking Christ, he will never get rid of the fucking... Oh, a guy that's got anti-Semitic undertones and whose innate reaction when being angry in a game is to use the N-word moves to Japan. God. Why are you an internet trope, my boy? Gamers, am I right?
Degrees, qualifications, certification, credentials, competence, or background of any counselor. It's your responsibility to determine whether they have any degree or qualification or certification.
But once this game to life,
it's your fucking
Wonderful,
responsibility,
a new
dude. Your whole
child soldier,
platform's
subscriber.
point. What does the platform then do? What? It's just like a video chat app. Oh, it's such a ripoff. Thank you, Blasian dude, for the sub. Thank you kindly.
everyone started dropping Betterhelp as a sponsorship, of course.
I was one of the disgusting YouTubers that did a Betterhelp promotion, and this was before I knew any of the, you know, the controversy.
Betterhelp, Betterhelp yourself out of this PR disaster, which they have.
Holy
because
shit.
they're back now.
Betterhelp.
Worse.
Which again, to give it like a socialist context in this conversation, the main argument for the market is that bad companies are not going to be able to make money in the market because the market will recognize that they're doing fucked up things and they're going to stop purchasing their product, and then that particular company will go out of business and the market readjusts to a bad corporate policy, and that is how we're gonna end up with a better world. But we can't better help ourselves because turns out, you know that joke like make a socialist read basic economy and basic economic theory and they're going to stop being a socialist? Well, my response is tell non-socialists to read advanced economic theory and they're going to become a socialist, because it's not just supply and demand that one motivates the other. When you can literally create demand through what we know as advertising. So you can manipulate the market into wanting to consume a particular product, no matter how much they have heard other people have bad experiences with the product, because through advertising you can brainwash them into seeing a different image of this corporate culture and corporate overlord that they would like to bow down before by consuming their products, or God forbid work for them, right? And I guess that's what we're going to learn about Betterhelp, because through proper fucking marketing funnels and planning, they've managed to get themselves out of this hole that is deeper than anything I've seen when it comes to corporations that are big sponsors here on YouTube. And thank you, Anonymous Gifter. Oh my God, 12 months tier 1 sub to Cough Inspired. 12 months. Which, because it's an anonymous gifter, those who are common here know what this means. Whenever we get an anonymous gift, that means that Xi Jinping himself has given us money. And because of that, we must thank Xi Jinping and salute him for at least 20 seconds.
天上太阳风呀风风风嘞，心中太阳是毛泽东嘞，看看到我们的结伴嘞，这里本身当家做主人。
Thank you, Xi Jinping / anonymous gifter for the gifted 12-month sub. That is wild. Thank you kindly. Thank you.
Than ever. In the past few months, many of
Xi Jinping really loved that chatter. Like, Xi Jinping really loved that chatter. They could give like 12 subs to 12 people. No, I'll give this person 12-month subs. Holy shit. Thank you, Xi Jinping.
My favorite creators have been pushing Betterhelp again. And as naive as I could be, I thought, Betterhelp might have improved themselves. Their first scandal did happen 6 years ago. And I did read that they now do only use licensed therapy.
Hugo dances better than he's been drinking. Dude, I got drunk once on stream, okay? Once. And I drank fucking 600 milliliters of vodka, okay? I'm a good drinker. Like, you can offend me on anything. My hairline, the way I look, me being fat, etc., etc. I accept those because they're true. But lies such as this, me not being able to drink well, immediate castration and being kicked off. And an anonymous gifter, another gift, which, Jesus Christ, we must do what we do. Thank you, Xi Jinping.
这里本身当家做主人。天上太阳风呀风冲冲嘞，心中的太阳是毛泽东嘞，看看到我们奋勇前行嘞，革命家。
Thank you, Xi Jinping, and we're going back to our regularly scheduled broadcast. Man, if somebody really wanted to sabotage my stream, they could like continuously do anon donations, and I would just have to stay here for like 10 minutes just listening to Hasanabi render of Chinese communist songs.
It wasn't until I started reading the comment section on the videos that they were sponsoring. Quick reminder about Betterhelp's controversial past and
I say Xi Jinping, yeah, Xi. Cody Doc, what, am I mispronouncing my overlord and behind the scenes pay pigs Xi Jinping improperly?
Selling your information to advertisers. Please don't take Betterhelp's money, they do more harm than good. I really wish you wouldn't continue advertising Betterhelp. They sold mental health data for marketing without anonymizing it for massive profits. Well, screw you, random comments. Because Alan Matas, the co-founder of Betterhelp, assured me they would never do anything as crazy as secretly sell private mental health data from their users. We called it a far-fetched conspiracy.
Jesus, that is so fucking dark, man. That is so fucking dark. God. Almost as dark as, you know, those companies that you send your DNA to see if you're 5% Scottish, 50%, what was that? 20% reason to live, and then they sell it to companies that make bombs that can specifically use their chemical components in order to annihilate particular ethnicities from a territory. But no, we don't do this. We don't do this.
Conspiracy and a gross violation of
Obviously, in the free market, a large corporate conglomerate that has access to the DNA code of hundreds of millions of people will not use this in any negative way. What are you talking about, you conspiracy head? Get your fucking aluminum foil off your head. Why would they ever do this?
Federal laws, state laws, HIPAA regulations, and their own terms and privacy policy. Which is why they were fined $7.8 million by the FTC last year for doing exactly that. Yeah, so the FTC proved that they have been sharing private mental health data of their users, as well as their IP addresses, email address, with companies like Facebook and Snapchat. This mental health data included answers to very personal questions such as sexual orientation, specific reasons for wanting therapy, possible eating disorders, and so much more. Of course, when they were asking those questions of their users, they ensured them that they wouldn't be sharing this at all.
And you wonder why, oh my god, I'm having an eating disorder and all of a sudden I'm getting like 100 apps for different ways for you to manage your eating disorder. Previously I said how, oh holy shit, I might be losing a bit of my hairline, and immediately insane amounts of ads. It's not necessarily that these things are listening to you nonstop even when they're not connected, even though they absolutely are. It's that all of these companies that you interact with on a daily basis, not just Google, continuously send this information that is eaten up by the algorithm and then sold to potential advertisers and companies to better direct this at you. I personally, through my corporate work, have, I think, probably over $1 million worth of Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube ads that I've set up myself. And the amount of details that you can go into when it comes to exactly who you want to target is absolutely wild. My first like mind-blowing thing was it knows if you're divorced, or if you've recently broken up, if you're recently divorced. It knows if you've recently had kids, if you had kids 10 years ago, if you had kids 15 years ago. And it would allow me to target you differently, et cetera, when it comes to, for example, products that are used to take care of kids, etc. It is wild. It is absolutely wild. The targeting that can be done. And that is because they have such advanced algorithms and they gather data from so many fucking places that allow them to do exactly this.
Stuff with their therapist, of course. Yeah. Oh boy, can't wait what ads Facebook is gonna show me now that they think I'm an anxious, unemployed, widowed, bisexual.
Which what we talked about a few streams before. We are ideologically brainwashed into accepting advertising as a commonplace thing. It's not weird to us anymore because it's existed for so long. But in advertising's infancy, at least, advertising as we know it as such currently, its infancy of that definition in the 60s caused mass protest and upheaval because they saw that it's insane. To give you an allegory kind of on why it's insane and why you should consider it insane, that wherever you go, you're being bombarded with this information and this connotation that you are going to become a better version of yourself if you consume this. Your identity should be directly linked to this item or that item. You're not really successful in life unless you have this. You're not a real man without this car. You're not a real woman without this skirt, etc., etc. The allegory of why it's insane. Imagine if your state was doing this. Imagine if absolutely everywhere you go, there's just constant fucking billboards advertising about how good your leader is, how great the party is, how much we love you and support you, how much you would be a bad citizen unless you salute our great overlord leader. Most of you, especially in the West, are listening to this and like, oh my God, that would be, oh my God, literally 1984 Animal Farm. But then when the private sector does that, we're like, no, that's normal. That's what we like. We're continuously bombarded by propaganda like everywhere we fucking look, but it's normal because the private sector does it. But the second we see, oh, crazy DPRK billboards with Kim Jong-un, oh my God, such authoritarianism, right? That to us is wild. And it is wild. It is wild, but we're hypocrites in calling that wild while literally being fed the most brainwashing, everyday, fucking continuous propaganda that no human has ever experienced in the past. A lot of people say, oh, we don't know the consequences of continuous internet use. Oh, look at all these iPad kids, etc., etc. Great points, absolutely. It's weird, and we'll need like half a century more to figure out just how much it's changed our psyche and changed our ideological outlook that we've been on the internet for so long. Absolutely. But why is nobody talking about hundreds of thousands of corporations continuously shoving ideas of who we are supposed to be in relation to the items that they are sending us as not equally as impactful and mind-altering as you constantly using the internet? Nobody's even doing any research on this because an ad is not influencing me. They're just trying to sell cigarettes. My brother in Christ. Oh yes, it is.
Disorders and daddy issues. An ad for Betterhelp? Oh man! And those are just the lies they were caught on so far. And I mean, they've been lying about these ones for years.
But speaking of disgusting ads that will brainwash you, one is going to play in exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If you would like to avoid that, support the show for $5 or for free through Prime. Consider becoming a sub. Defeat ads one day at a time.
But you know,
that was a 9 out of 10. That was a 9 out of 10. Fuck you. That was a 9 out of 10.
Can't apologize for their action. It's not their fault that they try to abuse goodwill of their users for personal corporate gain. So let's give them a chance and actually check out their services. And who better to check it out than someone with a master's degree in psychology who is giving therapy right now? My girlfriend. So I already told you about Betterhelp and how
it's probably hard to research on advertising effects on our minds. How could we find control samples of people who haven't been aggressively advertised to? No, exactly. I apologize for not making that point. Yeah, it's at this point it's such a normalized staple of society that it's the same as drinking water. It's the same as roads, right? We can't really compare. Oh, what is life when you have roads and not? Actually, we could do that by going to rural societies, etc., etc. But with ads, we can't do it. It's completely standardized and completely normalized. And people that think, oh, ads don't work on me because this or that. Yet you have classic ads which literally sell you, hey, buy the fucking shaving thing so that your dick can look really nice and smooth, like very direct advertising. And then there is cultural advertising which completely changes your definition of who you want to be and your definition of finding yourself, your definition of achieving the higher stages of the Maslow pyramid, proper self-exploration, etc., which quite literally tell you, instead of looking deeply inside, trying to find what you actually care about, trying to find purpose, etc., they just tell you, no, this item will actually satisfy your inner urge for purpose. This product, this service, this is what you really want, and this is how you're going to become who you become. That is why we have 700 subcultures of car guys, skateboard guys, BMX guys, potheads, metalheads, etc., etc. These subgroups that are quite literally created thanks to people being introduced to a concept of self-identifying with the patterns of consumption in which they engage in. The example I always use, at least it's very common in the Balkans, it's like what car you drive literally defines what kind of a man you are and how successful you are, how expensive it is, how fast it is, how flashy it is. That is what's going to make you in the eyes of wider society become closer to who you really are or who you aren't. But the more cliche argument could be fashion to an extent.
How great of a company they are.
Yeah.
Well, since I'm just a dumb content creator and you're a literal holder
Wonderful,
of a
a
master's
new child
degree in
soldier,
psychology,
subscriber.
Thank you, Black Tea Spill. That's a great name for the sub. Welcome to the community.
I would like you to talk about the services Betterhelp provides their users. I mean, look at all these beautiful green Betterhelp check marks, while in-office poop sessions have all these red crosses. Unlike in-office therapy, Betterhelp has messaging at any time, chat sessions, video sessions, phone sessions.
I mean, most in-office therapists have phones and laptops as well.
No, they don't. Well, you might have a master's degree, but I'm pretty sure you haven't learned how to message at any time.
I mean, I don't think the Betterhelp therapists are going to answer 24/7. They have.
My grandma had a BMW. What kind of man was she? A Balkan man. A true, proud, strong Balkan man. And it is absolutely okay for you to identify like the fact that you like something because you're brainwashed and continue to like it. It's okay for you to be a skater boy or a BMW head. Okay, that's okay. We're not doing the same thing that they do with, for example, environmental disaster, and they completely blame it on your consumer habits. I'm not blaming you for your consumer habits because you exist in this material reality where advertising is so commonplace. That would be fucking stupid. That would be completely missing the fucking mark. Like 1000% missing the mark, walking in the opposite direction. No, enjoy your things, because at this point, that's been developed in your mind and that's what you kind of like. But always remember why you like this. Why I really like my fucking 300,000 kilometer mileage BMW, and why I identify with, the black rims or whatever the fuck, because I'm brainwashed. But I can't help it. At this point, I like it, and I feel really good when I drive it. So I'll continue to drive it, okay? Nothing bad in that. Nothing bad in that. As long as you remember that this is not really who you are. This is not what's supposed to define you. And most importantly, when you remove the drive of continuous and increased consumption, so I need a newer BMW, a better BMW, that is how you can kind of healthily exist in this world where, unfortunately, what you consume, what you put on yourself, what you wear, how your apartment looks, etc., is pretty important. But some of these are also pre-advertising concepts. For example, your home looking nice. We want, because the human mind cares about aesthetics and cares about beauty and cares about comfort and wants a home that looks nice, wants a building that looks nice, wants a fucking video game console that looks nice. There's nothing wrong with this. But once you completely start identifying with your consumer habits as who you are, that is when we get to the problem. And this might sound like, oh, what the fuck is he talking about? Who does this? Everybody does this. Absolutely everybody does this. Because the system as it is right now doesn't really allow us any sort of other pursuits or any other types of purpose that we can direct ourselves at. No, it's just consume.
Wonderful.
And thank you, Dako I, for resubbing. Welcome back, my friend. And thank you, Sin Oroshima, for the sub through Prime. Welcome to the community. I hope you understand me.
Their personal lives, and we as therapists want the client to be able to process what they learned and not text us 24/7, because then you're not gonna grow as a person.
I think you're wrong. Wait, so you dare say that BetterHelp's perks are actually not perks? They're creps?
Stupid.
I mean, you guys don't have easy-to-switch providers.
Fuck does that even mean?
Well, either they're talking about switching telecom providers, but I'm pretty sure they're referring to easily being able to switch therapists.
I mean, in-office therapists can be changed.
No! We all know you're assigned an in-office therapist at birth and then can't change it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Jokes aside, my in-office therapist had basically all of these services. I mean, I could text her whenever, I could mail her.
What is Balkan opinion on therapy? Our therapy is sitting with 5 bros and getting shit-faced, getting just drunk enough to tell them all our problems, and then they consult you on how to solve your problems, and then you consult them on how they solve their problems. Obviously, I'm kidding. Go to therapy, but that's my joke on why a lot of Balkan people don't go to therapy, because they consider it still like as if it's 1950s, that if you go to therapy, that means you're crazy de facto. That's obviously the main reason. But the meme reason, unironically, is because because socialism died so recently, and there's still leftovers in our mentality of it, but also because that's just what Balkan culture that I can talk about is, that it's very communal, and it's you very much so are very open on sharing what ails you to your loved ones, to your neighbors, to your friends. So we kind of get to vent and get advice much more commonly than the incredibly individualized cells which exist in the West, where unfortunately you quite literally have to go and pay a person. Thankfully, a person that's very well educated on the topic and can actually help you much more than potentially a friend can. But again, you need to go to a person that you pay that will help you get over the particular things that are ailing you or that are impacting your mental health, which are again a direct consequence, unfortunately, of alienation and of our continuous fragmentation one from another. I've solved 75%. I consider myself to have great mental health, and I believe I solved 75% of my problems quite literally through deep, eloquent, long-term conversations with my friends, which have given me good advice, etc., etc. The introduction of alcohol to that conversation is because of the incredible machoismo that we have here, that, you know, you need to be 3 beers in order for you to let go and actually talk about your problems to your friend and even cry in front of him, etc., etc.
When I had to move abroad to Sweden, we just did video call therapy for 4 months. So this deceitful chart should...
Collectivism is absolutely a cultural thing, not just economic. Absolutely not just economic, but if we are Marxists, the material reality on the ground influences how a culture behaves. A culture exists by itself, but it can manifest in different ways depending on the economic system in which it finds itself in, right? So you can very much so have a culturally collectivist society, which, because it exists in a hyper-capitalist economic structure, which inspires competition and fighting against your friends, competing with your friends, instead of cooperating and uplifting with your friends, that is going to undermine this collectivist culture, if you know what I mean.
Should actually look like this. Okay, so can you guess how much they dare ask for this?
It's supposed to be cheaper than in office therapy, right? So $120.
$300. I'm sorry. More specifically, 260 to 360.
Bravo, Juliana Bars. Economics is a structure, culture is a superstructure. Yes, yes. Some well-read Marxists up in chat. I'm very proud. I'm very proud.
Dollars a month, depending on location, preferences, and therapist availability. Do you know how much I paid for my 2 60-minute sessions for in-office therapy a month?
$130.
$130. Like, who the fuck is this service even for? You know what? We shouldn't be judging the Betterhelp platform without having tried it. We're not paying for... Yeah, we don't have $300 laying around. No,
Wonderful.
there are enough horror stories on TikTok.
Thank you, Guy Willie, for the sub through Prime. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Where they share what I hope no one will ever have to experience in therapy. So you want to watch some TikToks?
No.
I like this guy.
I did Betterhelp for about 3 weeks, and the straw that broke my back
Pretty cool channel.
was when the therapist was in office for the first time. The last time was in her living room, and I was like, I'm just gonna believe no one else is there. As I log onto the video, she's talking to someone, and then just stops talking. It's like, hey, how are you? So let's get started. I'm like, someone is in there. She gets up, walks out an open door, meaning there was no privacy, goes into the lounge of like the office, makes popcorn while I'm talking,
Jesus
and
Christ.
then comes back sits down and is eating popcorn with her mouth full, just chewing. What?
Maybe chat, and just maybe not all things need to be fucking privatized.
Wait, was I
Jesus
supposed to
Christ.
react
Like
to
the
something?
conversation we had, for example, with what is happening to Boeing. Oh my God, maybe the fucking flying space coffins are not supposed to be run by the profit motive. God fucking damn it. And then wonder, oh my God, why is the fucking door flying off? Or oh my God, why are our therapists not giving a shit about what they're doing? Because they're in it for the fucking money. God, oh my God, mind blowing. Such astute social commentary by me. Oh Lord, I really did dunk on the capitalism right here.
How many years do you think it's going to be before we see a true crime documentary about Betterhelp?
So I tried Betterhelp twice. I actually got a refund from them. So my first therapist was 10 minutes late to our 10-minute meeting, our first initial meeting. And then she was like, oh, wow, we don't have a lot of time. I contacted them and I got a different therapist. He was also late and just completely missed our first meeting. We set a second one. He missed that one. And then he just texted like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I was at my other job. And I was just like, what?
Wait, didn't they advertise in-office therapy being bad because they have waiting times? With in-office therapy, you've got to spend time in their waiting rooms. With Betterhelp, you can save that time. and spend it in our waiting room.
I tried BetterHelp like a year ago. And in my first meeting, they're like, well, what are you struggling with? And I tell them I have an anxiety disorder, a panic disorder, and I'm dealing with depression. To which he goes, I don't think you really have those disorders. It's just society's fault because right now they're oppressing men. You can't go out and compliment a woman without becoming a sex offender. Now,
Jesus
I'm just
Christ.
gobsmacked by this. Just like
Red pill therapist. That's not what I saw fucking coming, bro. God. Red pill therapist. Hey, therapist. I feel like shit. Life isn't going well, and everything sucks. Yeah, that's because men are oppressed and everyone hates men. And go shoot up a school, please. Thank you.
Now I'm just gobsmacked by
Thank you, Psycho Dad 1334 for the sub. Thank you very much.
this. Just like, what? But he continues.
Yeah, at that point, just pay Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, the people's therapist.
Down this tangent.
Wonderful, a new child soldier,
I mean
subscriber.
White man, so of course you're the reason that everything in the world is bad. When you look at history and think about it, we're really the saviors of the world. Yeah, I closed the laptop after that, and I was done. Don't do BetterHelp.
Imagine paying like $300 a month just to get assigned to Andrew Tate with a psychology degree.
Oh, great job, chat. You called the fucking joke. Pre-watched. Don't tell me or I'll fucking ban you. Mwah.
Look, I'm not saying that BetterHelp never helped anyone. I mean, that would be crazy. There have been people who said that their platform actually improved their mental health enormously. But with the
You know what is improving my mental health enormously? Me streaming at a normal fucking time. Jesus Christ, I feel so much fresher. This is like so dugga, like, Jesus.
countless horror stories and their shady practices, I don't know if the goods outweigh the bads. There are also endless articles of how poorly and disrespectful their therapists are being treated. It's truly just a mess for both therapists and clients. I'll leave some links in the description if you want to read up on that. Again, I don't think YouTubers have to only advertise the greatest of product.
But back to our previous conversation about advertising, and in this case, not as a metaphorical kind of borderline metaphysical analysis of how advertising influences us, but just extremely practical. Online advertising allows you to create whole lists, auto-generated lists of people you don't want to see the ad. So, what, for example, if you want to advertise BetterHelp on YouTube, you can find all the videos that talk shit about BetterHelp. And then you can make a list, exclude everyone who has watched these videos, and then target everybody who is not yet informed on how fucked up BetterHelp is. And only they will see it, and they will continue to buy your product, because those are the people that are uninformed about how fucked up the product is because they've never seen a video about BetterHelp. Literally, there are mechanisms to get around bad PR that these platforms very gladly give to you.
However, when a company with such a shady and deceitful past tries to sell
And I think if there's people working in digital marketing here in chat, they can absolutely confirm this.
something as important as a mental health service that in my opinion is both overpriced and sucks, yeah, well, that should be called out, and I think creators should be informed. So if you know anyone that still does BetterHelp sponsorships, you can just show them this video. And if you ever think of paying for BetterHelp, go instead seek a BetterHelp. Yeah, that was my last pun, I promise. BetterHelp, more like a BetterHelp.
Great channel, go subscribe, go check it out. Underrated creator, in my opinion. Great video. This was very good video and very funny. Bravo. I'm going to watch more of their videos in the future. Actually, let's see what they've made recently. Soggy Cereal. Brent Riviera, the master of plagiarism. Lying, doxing, and fake donations. Yeah, it's like covering YouTube stuff, but God bless. Stop calling Danny and Drew the same person. This rich family channel is faking homelessness. Oh my God, I have to click this. Oh my God. Can we? I have to click this. I mean, God fucking damn it, I have to click this. Now I have to click this. Tell me, chat, can I click this? Or we want to do like, more deep shit? I mean, we have to click this. This is, I have to click this. Okay, let's click this.
Oh man, I really hate family vloggers, and I really want to talk about them. But all these big channels already
everybody says yes. One, don't click. Everybody else is click. Okay, let's fucking die here. Rich family channel is faking homelessness. Man, we deserve to be fucking flown out into space. As my girlfriend says, aliens. I want aliens to come and kill us all and take this beautiful planet.
Videos on family.
Yeah, the chin on this dude. Actual Chad, man. Still can't believe that the Chad guy is Romanian. Balkan Chad fucking confirmed, baby.
Vloggers years ago. I can't compete with that. Besides, by now most
Speaking of things I cannot compete with, Twitch having to play ads. An ad is going to play in exactly 3 minutes. If you would like not to watch these ads, support this channel and our continuous dunking on all capitalist degeneracy, do consider becoming a Prime sub for free or $5. Thank you kindly, and let's continue.
Family vlogging channels are either dead or cleaned up their act. It's not like I'll magically find one family vlogging channel which survived hundreds of skating videos made on them because of pedophilia content. And even if they did, YouTube would have surely thrown them off the platform by now. Unless if they had some weird double standards, but YouTube doesn't have those. I'm just gonna have to accept that it's impossible.
Wait, no, this is perfect.
Dude, I thought the concept of the vlog had died off. Like, I genuinely didn't think the vlog fucking was still alive. At least not at the rate of 10.7 million. But then again, I guess I don't talk to white suburban American mums enough.
What's good, YouTube? You already know what it is. It's your boy Damien there.
I'm immediately tuning off. Like, if I open a YouTube video that starts...
What's good, YouTube? You already know what it is. It's your boy Damien there.
I'm immediately out of there. I'm running. I am running. I am fucking running. Like, Jesus Christ. What is this? Hey, dring. Hello. Oh, it's 2011 calling? Yeah, I'm not interested. Fucking Christ. And yes, folding phone.
I already regret making this video. Hey my bowl of cereal, welcome to the only channel on YouTube featuring some white guy in a chair who's trying to be funny. And today we're talking about the Prince family.
Hey, I'm doing that same thing. Haha.
Baby shark doo 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 doo, baby shark doo 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 doo. Hey.
You can be the daddy shark if you like.
Man, what's up?
You want to see the back of it?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You might know them from this infamous
I no longer regret watching this. Oh, mama.
Video and thumbnails. Damn, that's a 12-year-old? Which I'm sticking my tongue out for as if she's an
I don't want to. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Was that 12-year-old just... I'm gonna fucking vomit. Jesus fucking... Why are fucking pedophiles everywhere? Jesus fuck... I'm sorry, I'm really not into children. Ah, God.
And for the remaining 18 minutes and 44 seconds, see them decide if they want to fuck some kids.
They try to get us, bro.
They are, but I'm falling in the trap.
You want 20 plus?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, bro. Dude.
Which becomes even more concerning once you realize that Mr. Prince, Damien himself, got together with Bianca at the age of 20 while she was only 15 years old.
Damien met Bianca at work back in 2012 when he was 20 and she was 15. Yeah, no, you heard that right.
Now, I know about that, but where I come from, we call that pedophilia. But most of you probably already know about all of that. And if you didn't, that's basically all.
Man, I almost fucking died. Oh, Yes, chat. There are two types of communist Twitch streamers. Ones that are pedophiles and other ones that vomit at the fucking idea that they might have just seen a sexualized 12-year-old body. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, God. Fucking hell.
You needed to know about the Prince family up until now. And they got criticized.
One thing I can promise, you're not going to see any of that shit in my fucking secret folders, okay? God fucking damn it, man.
For all that. They were the toilet bowl for commentary YouTubers for months. And it seemed like everyone was on that Chipotle only diet.
Thank you, Ms. Gear, for the sub. Welcome to the community. God. And I wish I was fucking faking that. I wish I was fucking faking that.
Perfect for shitting on bad creators. But you have to give the Prince family some slack. Those videos were from 2 years ago. They got heavily criticized for them and removed some from their channel and stated that they learned a valuable lesson about clickbaiting content. So by now, 2 years later, I'm sure their content is all improved. It has to be, because they're still getting...
What is the audience for that? People who want an excuse to look at underage sexualized bodies. That's who. Literal fucking pedos, okay? Thank you, Surrender Boy, for the sub. Welcome to the community. Literal fucking pedos.
Millions of views every single week. They broke...
Or kids, yeah, kids. Kids will click on this, okay? The kids I'm not judging, but...
10 million subscribers a few months ago. And since recently they're expecting another baby.
Mommy.
Dude, look at that thumbnail, man. This is why I can't tell anybody when they ask me what do you do and tell them, yo, I'm a YouTuber, because this is what the fucking image of YouTubers is. And these poor kids getting fucking exploited for money. But I guess, okay, if they make a lot of money and they can pay for college, then I guess it's to an extent worth the semi-exploitation that they go through. Depends on the scale, but...
Another baby.
Mommy and Daddy are expecting another baby.
And their kids are super happy about it.
What?
And honestly, I'm happy for that.
It's a prank!
Oh,
that was the prank.
It's a prank. You pranked your kids who were really excited to get a new brother or sister that you were pregnant in a video titled "Telling My Kids I'm Pregnant." But that's fine. I still think they learned their lesson. Sure, they even got all of their kids to touch the mom's tummy to connect with their new brother or sister.
Man, we got... By the way, at 1,000 subs, we're looking at the cat book. Who knows the cat book knows. Those who do not know, ask your fellow chatters and you will know. The Holy Cat Book.
Y'all, we pranked y'all. How you feel, Kyrie?
Mad, I'm mad.
Why you mad?
But their video technically isn't clickbait. They're only telling their kids that they're pregnant. They didn't title it as promising our kids we're pregnant. So I give them the benefit of the doubt and still believe they've cleaned up their act and improved as content creators. Thus, when I saw their recent video, seeing for the first time after being blind his whole life, with like the dad, Damien Prince, showing us his one blind eye, I felt nothing but respect for this family. You're telling me that this dad has been completely blind for
the
all
entire
these
time
years and throughout
that is why he was looking at sexualized underage bodies. He was literally blind. I'm not a pedophile, I'm blind.
1,100 videos? Fuck, that's impressive. I never even noticed. This also means he technically never sexualized minors in his videos. He only acted as if he was sexualizing minors in his videos. Because he was still blind at the time. Obviously, I'm kidding. Shockingly enough, there wasn't a sudden reveal that for the past 1,000 videos, Mr. Prince himself suffered from clinical blindness.
Finally, get rid of these glasses. No more glasses, no more contacts. So I'm getting LASIK this morning.
No, in the video, Damien just gets like LASIK treatment so that he'll never have to wear glasses again.
And I'm extremely nervous, I'm scared. Tummy being like bubbling up.
My tummy is all bubbling. Yeah. I'm gonna be shitting myself at the ophthalmologist. You know, he had slight eyesight impairment, sure. But to call it blindness is like saying that I need a wheelchair because I can't run on a treadmill for longer than 15 minutes.
Titling your video, I'm about to get fucked up the ass. Like, that's literally the title of the video. And the thumbnail is him, like, peeking out his butt. And the video is about him going to the doctor to get a colonoscopy. Like, that's the level.
And this video really rubbed me the wrong way. Not just because they're clickbaiting a serious condition which millions and millions of people suffer from, but also because they got away with it scot-free. Why aren't we all getting on that Chipotle-only diet again? These are like millions of—
Like, I should title my Twitch streams, "Me and Chat Gangbang Capitalists." Like,
kids still easily influenced.
and just a video with like all of you like in chat with like a penis next to you, and then like you know that meme with that white girl with you know all the brothers around her, but we put like the capitalist hat and monocle next to her. That's gonna be my thumbnail for everything. Me and Chat gangbanging capitalist mentality. Oh.
Children cheering on this behavior, learning that it's okay to fake blindness or fake homelessness, which is a perfect segue into another one of their recent videos I really want to talk about. We're homeless, and it's like his wife and kids looking like what a rich, soulless, out-of-touch studio executive's interpretation of a poor person would be. Can we have some homeless clothes, kind sir? The poor people's store was all out of regular clothes. But then the video itself, even though it starts off with classic manipulation tactics.
How you guys doing? I'm not really doing okay. But if you're new to the channel, subscribe right now and join the family, man.
I'm so sad. Please subscribe so I can drive.
Hi chat, I hope you're doing okay, but I'm a bit under the weather, so if you want to make me feel a bit better, click that subscribe button, join the family, man, and let us gangbang capitalists together.
My tears off with my subscriber count. This was the first time I ever felt some remorse for these guys, because they do actually bring up some serious issues with their house that they're trying to move into.
We're potentially going to be homeless.
Sorry, the boom sound kind of took me by surprise. We're gonna be homeless.
But the reason why we're going to be homeless—
I guess we got support for gangbanging the capitalists. Thank you very much, Mick Sable, for the 5 gifted subs. Thank them, and I thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Saving people from ads one day at a time.
This is because the house that we're in right now, we was selling it.
Yeah.
So we have to be out this house in a certain time for the new buyer to take over it.
Like you said, the new buyers can get in, and the other house isn't done, so where are we gonna go?
Or so I would have if this entire drama wasn't just made up for views. And they didn't upload their new house tour just 3 days later. Oh my god. We so sad. Please subscribe. $15 million house tour. Woo! And then their house tour itself, that is supposedly meant for children, is so fucking uncomfortable.
We are on our road. We are.
Like, Marx predicted a lot of things, but not online influencers reacting to sexualized underage bodies for clout, or them saying they're homeless before they buy a $15 million house. How the fuck can they afford a $15 million house? Even with an 11 million fucking sub channel, that's a $15 million house. Okay, they must be taking some insane fucking loans out, or they're fucking renting that shit. No way, you cannot afford a $15 million house. In order to buy a $15 million house, you need to make I don't know, at least 15 million a year, which I doubt they do. Okay. Putting our kids in indentured future debt and servitude for the clout. We are rolling this. We are rolling this.
We are on a road.
We are on a road.
We are on a roll, chat.
I'm overly excited for today. I'm actually thirsty. You know what I'm saying?
Me too. I've been thirsty.
I'm thirsty for you though. You feel me?
I'm thirsty for you too.
Oh really?
Oh really? Is that something new?
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Oh okay.
Quench my thirst.
I will.
Hey,
I'm thirsty.
Fucking, I'm thirsty for some cyanide right now.
For that sweet kiss right now. Death, if you're around here, can you give me a little peck on the cheek, please? Yeah, imagine starting your new house tour like that to a bunch of 5-year-olds. Yeah, so this is our brand new toilet. Which I did test out. I just took a big fat dump. But fuck! This is our pyramid of toilet paper.
Dude, this is such an underrated channel. This guy is awesome.
Me want sex, me thirsty for mama.
Can I still file for divorce?
These people are at a point where they can just permanently hire a chef.
Let's go to where Big Mama B gonna be cooking. No, we gonna hire a chef probably, you know what I'm saying?
To make their food.
Aliens, planet explode. Please now. Thank you.
In their $15 million mansion, they have a 2-floor storage closet.
Obvious, right?
What?
It's a 2-story.
Two-floor storage closet.
Closet.
Oh my god!
We have a 2-story closet.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my.
Me debating with Hakeem. Hey man, I don't think that the labor aristocracy theory is that important, at least in the modern context. Hakeem sending me this video. Because these guys de facto are kind of like petit bourgeois, right? Which, not even labor aristocracy, which I always make the argument, hey, even if you're petit bourgeois, your interests are more aligned in late stage capitalism to that of the proletariat, etc., fancy theory words. And then these guys. Do these people go to Gulag? No, but they're forced, like their house is turned into accommodation for the previously homeless. And the only part of the house they're allowed to live in is their 2-story fucking closet, which will still probably be bigger than most apartments that people need.
That's like a 2-bedroom apartment in itself. Yet they're still faking shit like homelessness and blindness for some extra views. And how are these people still allowed on any content creation platform? Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. Their main audience is kids, the demographic YouTube seemingly gives the least shits about. The past few years, YouTube has actually made it even easier for people like the Prince family to get away with this shit. Because they removed the dislike button and Damien Prince, as tough as he likes to act, make sure that every single negative comment is removed from their videos, so his little feelings don't get hurt. YouTube endorses their content so much actually that recently they got a nursery rhyme channel on YouTube Kids.
Wow! If y'all don't know, go to this channel right here, the Prince Family Nursery Rhymes. This is our music channel, man. We dropping them bangers over there.
YouTube.
But isn't like on YouTube Kids you can't really make any money because they can't advertise. Like advertisers can't advertise on YouTube Kids. So how do they make? Okay, I'm super uninformed. Wait, let's learn. How do people still make money off YouTube Kids? Does YouTube give revenue on made-for-kids videos? As of my knowledge, cut off in September 2021, YouTube's policies regarding revenue on made-for-kids videos are as follows. If a video is designated as made-for-kids as per YouTube's guidelines, it may be subject to certain restrictions, including limitations on personalized advertising, features such as comments and notifications. Additionally, videos marked as made-for-kids are not eligible for targeted ads based on user data. Exactly. And I mean, except for like but no, you can't target the ads. Regarding revenue, YouTube does allow ads to be served in made-for-kids videos, but the revenue garnered from these videos may be significantly reduced compared to videos not designated as made-for-kids. YouTube implemented these changes to comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which was very fucking good, but apparently it doesn't work. God, what the fuck? I mean, what except kids' toys can you really sell to kids? But if you can't target that, bombard them with the new Barbie doll so they go and bombard their parents about how they really, really want it. But if you can't specifically target kids, then how do you? They probably find a way. Jesus fucking Christ. The only kids content that we stand here is Bosnian Man Burger Joker. I don't know if you know this guy. This is the only kids content we stand here, okay? Balkan Man figured out how to make millions on YouTube. I think he's Bosnian.
Welcome to Joker's Skitters. Today we...
If you would like to continue watching me as we react to Joker's Kitchen Crazy Hamburger and would not like to watch the ad in 45 seconds, then please do consider supporting the channel and having an adless experience. Crazy Hamburger! You don't know this? Chat, really? You don't know this? This is crazy hamburger. So this guy called Fat TV, yes, it's called Fat TV. It's a Bosnian guy that makes millions of dollars off of these videos. Like, I become Skibidi Toilet to help my brother. Super Bad Guys Transformation compilation. Among Us and Superheroes movie. Skibidi Toilet get help from bad guys. Like, but this is his most famous video in my opinion. This shit is absolutely incredible.
We are making giant hamburger horse meat. Red hot chili peppers. Grass of death.
Grass
Oil
of death.
from Iraq. Cheese from
Oil from Iraq. He did some social commentary up in there. God, America about to invade Fat TV.
Sao Paulo. From
This is so cringe, it's great.
Brazil.
I'm sorry. This is so cringe, it is great.
Bread made in Turkey. First put red hot chili peppers. Now put oil.
Yeah, your parents come, hey, you can't make a goof of yourself on the internet and become a millionaire. Fat TV is like, hold my beer. Bosnia's greatest cultural export, most likely. People say Balkan people are no longer influential in the world after Tito died. Dude, 7.1 million. This man is more influential than than all leftist content creators combined. That bread looks really yummy though. That bread looks really good.
Very horrible spicy.
I feel like there's a level of intellect it takes to even think of nonsense like this. Dude, this is like 700 IQ shit, okay?
Horrible spicy.
Horrible. And the accent he uses is so original. It's fucking art form, man. Not gonna lie, I would eat that burger. Yeah, me too, probably, dude. Immediate fucking heart problems, but fuck it, let's go.
This is Joker hamburger! Cook on 1000 degrees.
Dude, for when we reach 3,000 subs, I will replicate this video, okay? Clip this, send it to me. If I ever make to 3,000 subs, I will replicate this video. I will go out into nature, I will paint my face as Joker, and I will replicate this fucking video. Crazy hamburger!
Cooling down horse meat. This is Joker's big hamburgers.
Sorry, but this is funny. This is, I don't know why, this is funny.
Is hamburgers.
Is this you, but 5 years ago? Oh my god, they found me out. This was my previous grift.
This is horrible.
It is horrible.
Crazy hamburger.
And then it catches on green fire. They put a little fucking stick that sends out fire. Brate moj koji kurac.
Crazy hamburger. This is horrible. Crazy hamburger. Crazy hamburger. Crazy hamburger.
And that's it. That's the video. That's the video.
Crazy hamburger. Crazy.
When you chat, when you put a little bit of spice in a white Western person's burger.
Crazy hamburger. Crazy hamburger. This is horrible. Crazy hamburger. Crazy hamburger. Crazy hamburger.
Oh, I'm very sorry I forced you to watch this. Is Bosnia okay? I mean, this is the richest man in Bosnia, okay? This is the richest man in Bosnia. What is it?
Welcome to Jokers. Today we are making giant hamburger. For smeary oil seed. Red hot chili peppers. That. Grass. Oil from Iraq. Grass from Sao Paulo. From Brazil. Bread made in bread. First put that. Grass. Now put ham in. It is Joker hamburger!
This is a great way to start your Friday, and if you fucking disagree, you don't know how to live life. Brazil mentioned.
1000 degrees. Meat. I'm going to eat is hamburgers. This is horrible.
Like ancient humans were ancient humans. Yo, dude, what do you think society is going to be like in 5,000 and 10,000 years? What do you think it's going to be like? Oh, probably super advanced, flying cars and spaceships. Good ending. Oh, fuck me. Oh, brilliant. We're going back to the previous book. I'm sorry I took you down this fucking side route. Talking about side route, I encourage everybody over on YouTube to come over on Twitch and become my favorite children, because eventually this stream will only be on Twitch and you can follow the schedule here. Also allow my channel to grow so that it becomes fully self-sustaining. Thank you, YouTube refugees. You're very welcome to the apartheid state of Twitch, where we put YouTubers as second-class citizens. Thank you kindly.
1,000 followers on Instagram.
I tried Betterhelp like a
No,
year.
this is Betterhelp video. What the fuck? Wait, this one.
Kids is actually allowed to use from the age of
By the way,
0.
YouTube crowd, the link towards the Twitch is in the description of the video. Thank you kindly.
Crazy hamburger! No! It's the Prince family!
It was horrible! Thank you.
Imagine that. Imagine being 1 year old, happy dandy, sucking your thumb, shedding your diapers, and you're already getting indoctrinated into the Prince family cult. You might even know of some of their hit tracks, such as the No Bully Zone, all about stopping bullying and not calling people names. Which is kind of ironic, since the Prince family got in trouble for bullying their newborn baby, like just hours after being born.
Because I had blue eyes when I was born.
Sorry.
I thought children have pretty eyes. Bright blue eyes.
They prefer a baby who has pretty bright eyes, instead of a baby with dark, stinky, ugly eyes. I guess they're putting our baby up for adoption prank kinda makes sense now.
We're about to do this crazy epic prank. It's gonna be on a call, as you guys read about the title, Giving Baby Nova Up for Adoption Prank.
Man, my guy in the background, fucking, what are you doing to those eyebrows, King? Jesus Christ.
Call, as you guys read about the title, Giving Baby Nova Up for Adoption Prank. It's a prank.
Why does he have his tongue out like that? Yo, I'm stealing this stupid mother's baby. If you wonder why I have this printed, it's from last video. And I know that by now I'll have some people in the comments saying that I'm just a jealous hater who wishes he had that amount of money. And to those I say, yes, of course I'm jealous of a multi-million-dollar family, and I am a certified Prince family hater. Well, I do like the kids, but the parents, they're awful people. YouTube doesn't care. If they didn't remove their channel for sexualizing 12-year-olds, they're not going to ban them for faking blindness or homelessness. The Prince family is just going to get away with this, as they always do,
the state
because
we
they
find
are
ourselves in, my dear
uncancelable.
friends.
Meanwhile, Mr. Beast gets dragged over Twitter for an entire month because he actually tried curing people with blindness. Can we complain about these guys first?
It's a prank!
But before you do that, I'd first like you to criticize my haircut in the comments below. And subscribe to my channel and watch some of my other videos if you enjoyed this one to become part of my cereal bowl so we can become the
Go
largest
subscribe to
cereal
him,
bowl
Pretty
on
Base channel. Which moves us into something that is also terminally online, but also not necessarily. And that is Americans being introduced to sports betting. What the fuck? Hasn't sports betting existed for the last 100 years and is just an extension of the casino industry, quite literally completely ripping you off in every fucking way possible? And oh my god, anonymous gifter gifted 6 subs, only facts /X. No, a 6 months tier 1. Xi Jinping, thank you very much for the donation. And as we know, when she donates, we must react properly. We must. Thank you, Xi Jinping, for the money.
我心中的片太亮，它的边片绿一片红。
Crazy hamburger! Thank you very much, Xi Jinping, for the donation. Those of you who are confused, whenever an anonymous donation comes in, that means that Xi Jinping is sending us money. Now, let us go back to the conversation about sports betting. Americans being late to almost every party and then talking about it as if they just discovered it. Sports betting is actually an incredible disease in the Balkan Peninsula, if I can say so myself, because, well, absolutely everybody is sports betting. Everybody I know, they've been sports betting since they were 12 or 13. Some highways that you drive in the Balkans look like a fucking dystopia straight out of the most unimaginative mind. You can drive sometimes for like 10 kilometers and see like 150 billboards on both sides of the highway that are just like casino, sports betting, casino, sports betting, casino, sports betting. And as we all know, like casinos are an extremely parasitic entity that preys on people's inability to actually make a decent living for themselves with the promise of quick cash. Which obviously proliferates the poorer a particular population is, and the Balkan Peninsula is a great example of exactly that. You know the joke, the poorer a neighborhood is, the more like fast credit stores, casinos, and yeah, you see on the street. Absolute classic. Oh, and not fast credit stores, casinos, and what you call those places where you go and give your stuff and they give you a lot less money for it. What was the term? That fucking pawn shops. Thank you very much. Pawn shops. Yeah. So if you're driving through a neighborhood and you just see pawn shops, casinos, and fast credit stores, you know you fucked up. Unfortunately, a lot of Serbian, Bulgarian, Bosnian, Croatian neighborhoods are just literally nothing else exists there except this. Pawn shop. Fuck you.
Decision that has led to our lives today, which is waking up.
Wait, what? 1 second. We're interrupting this news for U.S. calls for Gaza ceasefire vetoed at UN, Israel to go into Rafah with or without U.S. support, Netanyahu says. Holy fucking shit. Russia and China veto U.S. resolution calling for immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Russia and China on Friday vetoed the UN resolution calling for an immediate and sustained ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza to protect civilians and enable humanitarian aid. According to the Associated Press, the vote in the 15-member Security Council was 11 members in favor, 3 against, and 1 abstention. Why against? For the vote, Russia's UN ambassador said Moscow supports an immediate ceasefire, but he questioned the language in the resolution and accused the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, U.S. ambassador, of misleading the international community for politicized reasons. That's what we were talking about previously, the specific words being used in it could eventually be used against Gaza in the later point of the so-called war, but I don't know if China's and Russia's decision is still warranted, because even if a smaller ceasefire could have been introduced, could have led to the saving on some lives, Very controversial and very wow. U.S. resolution. Updating live. Security Council to vote. What does U.S. Gaza ceasefire? Vesti. As you ratchet up pressure on Israel over updating live. Yeah, nobody's posted about it yet. UN Security Council fails to pass U.S. draft resolution on Gaza. The resolution supported imperative of an immediate sustained ceasefire. Algeria also voted against. And Guyana abstained. Russia and China on Friday vetoed the draft resolution, with Moscow accusing Washington of a hypocritical spectacle that does not pressure Israel in any way. The U.S., Israel's main ally, which has vetoed previous ceasefire calls, put forward a resolution which for the first time would have supported the imperative of an immediate and sustained ceasefire and condemned the October 7 attacks by Hamas. Russia and China exercised their vetoes. Algeria also voted against, and Guyana abstained. The other 11 security members voted in favor, including France and Britain. Russia's ambassador, Gaza has been said the U.S. was doing nothing to rein in Israel, mocking Washington for speaking of a ceasefire after Gaza has been virtually wiped off the face of the earth. We have observed a typical hypocritical spectacle. The American product is exceedingly politicized, with the sole purpose being to play to voters and throw them a bone in the form of some kind of mention of a ceasefire in Gaza. The resolution will ensure the impunity of Israel, whose crimes are not even assessed in the draft. Okay, I see their perspective, and it's a legitimate perspective. But the opposite perspective is, if we could have gotten at least something, some sort of break, it could have helped. Let's wait on some smarter than me analysts to come in and explain what. But as OnlyFactsX said, if Algeria voted against, that's all I need to know. Same, because of Algeria's fucking 100-year support for Palestine. Then the analysis of the proposed draft must be acute, especially coming from a country that has vetoed all previous extremely sustainable and proper permanent ceasefire resolutions. This will lead to, obviously, the Americans being able to show their local population, hey, we did absolutely everything we could. Now, please vote for us because we are helping Gaza. But at the end of the day, the only thing they were pushing out is a resolution that in no way would find Israel accused of its, using the word wrongdoing would be an incredible understatement. Let's see how the situation develops and then further dive in at a later point. But I don't know. Any sort of fucking break in what is going on, in my opinion, would have been good. But seeing Algeria specifically denounce this means that Algeria, which is in deep contact to Palestinian leadership as well, and Russia and China to an extent. Interesting development of events that to an extent we called out yesterday that might go in this direction, but still. Saying Kumina. Wait, okay, Al Jazeera is so fast.
In the neighborhood, and the United States have to be apologetic and has to somehow work it out that this problematic child does not, become too violent and too much of a, killer in the neighborhood.
While giving weapons to that.
Absolutely. So the United States, on the one hand, provides the weapon, provides the money, because it's child. Israel is America's child in the Middle East. It's a spoiled, rotten child, but it is his child. It takes care of it and so on and so forth. And it's becoming embarrassing, especially as genocide unravels in plain sight on TV screens in the United States and the United Kingdom and France and Germany. Some of those countries cannot take it anymore. That's why there's so much pressure piling up on the United States and on Israel to stop the madness, right? So the United States tries in its own way while somehow pleasing Israel, while at the same time trying to create some kind of a condition for a ceasefire. it's coming out looking ridiculous for even countries like Guyana.
James, how much pressure do you think the United States is under at the UN Security Council at the moment? You know, it said, Marwan speaks about how the United States has a problem, and that's Israel. But the United States said that Russia and China is the problem, that it's more important for Russia.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to use for their domestic population, to say, look, we tried to do this, but the evil Eastern countries are stopping it.
China to see the US fail than the UN succeed.
To an extent, they were playing 3D chess. Now they hold all the cards by saying, yo, we tried for the domestic population and the international community, and they can continue doing whatever the fuck they want to do. It's like, you know, you engage in a fight and afterwards say, no, let's stop the fight, but the actual resolution you're giving out on why to stop the fight is absolutely ridiculous. So when they reject your solution on why to stop the fight, you say, hey, there you go. I don't want to fight. I try to stop it, but you guys want to continue it. But still, again, I might be a bit simplistic here, even if it was a ceasefire for a month, that would have helped the local population there. I'm trying to be here as pragmatic as possible. Thank you, Moku, for the sub for 1 month. Thank you kindly.
But again, just how much pressure is it under?
I mean, you've got the backdrop of election year and pressure within the US system, but let's put that to one side for a moment. You've got this resolution now, which Russia and China say was not really an attempt at a ceasefire. It was just Blinken talking up the idea that they're calling for a ceasefire when this isn't a proper call for a ceasefire. Well, now they've got a problem, because the E10 is going to put forward a resolution calling for a ceasefire. The US has been spinning it for the last 48 hours that they support a ceasefire. How are they now going to raise their hand again in veto at another resolution when they try to make...
Okay, so it's a strategic play. Now, if there's a draft that is coming in from the other UN security states, okay, they're playing 4D chess against the United States. Because now they just passed, they pushed for a draft for a so-called ceasefire, and they told their own population, hey, look, we're actually the good guys, we're pushing for a ceasefire. But they're playing, okay, fuck this, extremely mild version of, that just uses fancy words but doesn't really propose anything permanent. Fuck this, and then they're going to repropose something, and then the US is going to be put in a even additionally hypocritical potential situation on whether they get to reject it against or not. Okay.
Make everyone believe they want a ceasefire. I think it's a big problem for the United States if this, as we think, this resolution is put to the vote soon. My understanding, been on the machine here, texting people. My understanding is the E10, you've got the Slovenian ambassador speaking right now. They're an important player in that group of non-permanent members. They are negotiating among themselves. They're probably on WhatsApp themselves around that Security Council table, deciding whether to bring this to a vote in the next few hours or wait till next week. That's not decided yet, as I understand it.
And this is a question to both of you. The US constantly has been talking about the need for a ceasefire recently. Then why not make it clear in their resolution and demand an immediate ceasefire?
I think I have
Mods, please adapt the name of the stream. Thank you kindly.
Intuition that they will accept the coming ceasefire if it's only very simple, and that it doesn't call for gigantic steps forward and doesn't condemn Israel and so on and so forth. It's likely that the United States will support it, and I'll tell you why. It's not for diplomatic reasons, for political reasons and strategic reasons. I think the United States has come to the conclusion that this war is over. The war as we've known it the past 5 months is over. And it does want to wind it down and does want to come to a ceasefire, a sustained one, tied into the negotiations that are going on in Doha and Cairo, tied into the political maps in Israel and the United States, so that it can build on that towards something that looks like a settlement moving forward. It is in the interest of the United States. It's in the interest of the Biden administration. It's the interest of Biden himself, if he wants to be reelected, for something to give in terms of a ceasefire moving forward. If it is sustained, leading to a sustainable, then it's even probably going to be more welcomed by the United States. But the idea that after all of this wrangling, that the United States would behave like what it calls Russia and China and veto another resolution, it's going to come out ridiculous.
Can I add to that? I've spoken to several.
Hopefully, but let's vote. Let's hope that the American voting body isn't just only thinking about going back to motherfucking brunch. But yeah,
diplomats, including a number of ambassadors in the last week or so about this, and they think it is likely that the US would not want to use its veto again, because it wouldn't just be vetoing on behalf of Israel, it would be vetoing on behalf of a genocide, vetoing on behalf of a famine. But I do think there is a problem about the timing today. If this vote comes today, it will look like the US humiliated. So I think that is
bad karma.
That is a factor, and I think there'll be those that are considering whether to put this resolution forward today will be thinking about that. The US will be thinking about that as well. As I say, also with the other prospect of another veto.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the US doesn't care about how ridiculous it looks on the world stage. It's the state that has looked the most ridiculous on the world stage of ever. But yes, still.
In the coming hours on a completely different issue.
During the current context and its local election being as fucking insane as it is, they might care a bit more.
Yeah, but it's crazy to think that a vote might be delayed given just how much is at stake in Gaza at the moment.
But you are assuming that as soon as there's a vote, there's going to be ceasefire in Gaza. None of us is assuming that. Because Netanyahu has just said that even if the United States itself is not on board with the land invasion of Rafah, that Israel's still going to carry on with it. Now, whether this is a psychological threat or a real threat remains to be seen.
As a reminder to everybody watching, Israel has said that it will continue with its Gaza invasion even without U.S. support. Netanyahu has stated it a few hours ago.
But we still have this credibility gap, right? And that's what James talked about a bit earlier. Every time Secretary Blinken comes to the Middle East, makes promises, listens, then is assured and makes us promises, it all falls flat in the end of the day, because Israel is not responding well to the United States and its ultimatums. Israel is not responding well to American desires and advice. And hence, America is looking like a fool every time a Secretary of State or a Secretary of Defense come to the region. This time around, again, to underline a point that James just made, Secretary Blinken is attending the War Cabinet. The War Cabinet.
Yeah, not the first time.
Not the first time. Even Biden attended the War Cabinet, which means they are part and parcel to the decision-making behind this war. That means if, in fact, Israel still goes on with it, the international arena, hence not to its knees, must bring Israel to its senses. The United States,
to the table, essentially.
Must bring Israel to its senses, because America is not acting against Israel's interests. That's what every American official has been saying the past 5 months. We want...
Yeah, because that's the biggest taboo that they can ever fucking touch.
In Palestine's best interest.
But thankfully, to all the protests and all the people, you know, choosing not to vote for the Dems, even in the primary, that taboo is not as important, because there is a new taboo rising, and that is an act of fucking support of a mass genocide.
We want what is in Israel's best interest. That's what Chuck Schumer said the day before yesterday. That's what Biden and Blinken have said the last 2 days. They are thinking of the best interest of Israel. Netanyahu isn't. Netanyahu is thinking of his own best interest, of his coalition's best interest, and of his expansionist genocidal policies' best interest.
Marwan, thank you very much. That is our senior political analyst, Marwan Bishara, our diplomatic editor, James Bays, and we will, of course, be watching what happens at the UN Security Council very closely over the next few hours to see if we do have that second vote calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Thank you for now. Well, let's now go to Hamda Salhuth, our correspondent in occupied East Jerusalem. So, Hamda, how are the Israelis viewing the vetoing of this resolution at the UN Security Council?
Well, there's no official comment from the Israelis on the U.S. move in the UN Security Council this afternoon, but there also wasn't any comment from the Israelis.
So this denial of this particular draft, which was very milquetoast and didn't call for a permanent ceasefire, nor did it outline that the reason a ceasefire is necessary as a direct consequence of Israel pretty much annihilating all of Gaza, it's still was the U.S. calling for some sort of ceasefire. So if all of the UN security states now offer an alternative draft, a bit more radical draft on a permanent ceasefire, the U.S. will be kind of stuck in a diplomatic limbo because it just proposed a ceasefire and now it's vetoing other ceasefires, etc., etc. Because particularly the Algerians, the Russians, and the Chinese and the Guineans veto this on these particular arguments. It is not defining Israel as the aggressor, and it is not calling for a sustainable long-term ceasefire. Let us see if probably the U.S. media will take this and regurgitate it as Russian, Chinese, Algerian, Guinean hypocrisy. Even though that, in my opinion, is not necessarily the case, because they have outlined very, very direct and very astute analysis on why this one should not be undertaken. But astute analysis doesn't really matter if they cannot put it into practice and hopefully push for better draft resolutions for the UN Security Council to actually be able to follow through on. But this whole conversation is not necessarily even important, unfortunately, because Israel has just literally stated that even without UN support, which indirectly, even without US support, which indirectly translates to without UN support, they are going to continue their so-called military operation. So even if the UN Security Council passes the resolution, there would need to be active policies to kind of, quote unquote, force Israel into stopping this, which obviously will not happen because, again, Israel is the 51st American state. But yeah, let's see how the situation develops.
Reports within Israeli media, they're saying that there was a lot of disagreement between the two leaders. The Israeli prime minister said that they discussed the ground invasion into Rafah, something that is of great concern to the United States, that have said previously it would be a mistake calling it a red line. And this afternoon, the Israeli prime minister having some remarks saying that he hopes to enter Rafah with U.S. support, but if there is no U.S. support on that front, the Israelis are going to do it alone. Netanyahu says it's absolutely necessary in order to achieve a total victory over Hamas, but the back and forth disagreement between the Americans and the Israelis continue.
All right, Hamda, thank you very much for that. That is Hamda Salhoud with the latest live.
Thank you, Singing Kumina. We will stop this particular stream because afterwards non-TOS footage is going to come in. Let me see. Yes, unfortunately, we can't continue the stream because of the footage that's coming up afterwards in the stream. But okay, this is the current update. This is what has currently happened. Let's just hope that the parties which have denied this ceasefire draft know what they're doing. I really hope they know what they're fucking doing. Okay, genuinely. Because if they do not play this fucking chess properly, and they have just squandered, yes, a shitty fucking resolution, but still a resolution that could have stopped the fucking conflict for a bit, I would be very disappointed. But let's hope they know what they're doing, and let's hope this potentially helps. That's number one. And number two, unfortunately, even if this ceasefire resolution had been passed, after hearing Netanyahu's comments on "we will continue, we do not care about your fucking resolution," even Big Brother United States, kind of implies that it was just mumbo jumbo, flambo, just words that the Americans want to throw at their voting body in order to preserve their legitimacy, at least with the Democratic electorate. Yeah, to an extent, Shadow Ligger, because it was a temporary ceasefire, but also because Israel is not pinpointed as the aggressor in the situation, and because it's been seen as hypocritical, especially by larger states like Russia and China, that the country that has been stopping really, really adequate previous ceasefire resolutions, as again, hypocritical. Also probably because it's a clusterfuck for the US, and the Chinese and Russians love watching them eat shit. Yeah. Let's see when they propose the better resolution, and let's see if it passes. If they do, okay, hats off to Algeria, Russia, China, and Guyana. But if they don't, then they fucked up. But let's see. Even though, no, they didn't fuck up, I take my words back, because if this was passed, nothing would have happened. Because again, Israel said, fuck off. So yeah, let's wait. Let's see if a better resolution is pushed forward and if it is passed. Let's see if they played basically the actions of the countries that vetoed this, and the question of if it was the right thing to do or not depends on the result. So let's wait. Let's not jump into too quick of a conclusion and see what happens. 100 bet the US is going to veto the one you brought up. Likely, but it's going to, as the analyst said, it's going to be more difficult under the context of them having just pushed for a ceasefire themselves. Let's see what happens. We'll tune in probably in the few next days as the situation develops, but for now, there's not really anything more that we can get out of this. And how the media controls the masses by second thought, fuck yeah, this can be the next thing we watch. But before we go into
second
that,
thought,
which is probably going to be sick as fuck, let me save it, stream suggestions. We go back to what I promised you, and that is a bit of lighthearted internet commentary about casinos, baby, and about sports betting in the United States. The Americans come last to absolutely every conversation, including sports betting, that has been plaguing the world for quite a long time now. Yeah, let's jump in. But before we do, an ad is going to play in exactly 1 minute and 15 seconds. If you're against betting, then why send $5 or for free through Prime to some fucking Yankee defeating some fucking Detroit Nugget when you can give it to this beautiful channel, allow it to continue running sustainably and independently while enjoying an adless experience and also having very cool emojis. Speaking of which, thank you immediately, GXL DCP TRICK for the sub for 1 month.
Wonderful,
welcome, my friend.
a new child soldier. I mean, subscriber.
Okay, let's go into this conversation point. And thank you, Rotten Girl, for resubbing with the beautiful Yugoslavia emojis. Let's go.
Up and being absolutely waterboarded by... In 2018, the Supreme
Wonderful,
Court
a new
overturned a
child
law
soldier.
that bans sports betting in most places in America. A decision that has led to our lives today, which is waking up and being absolutely waterboarded by sports gambling advertising.
Yeah, welcome, man. Americans really live in like the fucking fifth world country, man. Like, how is this a current fucking topic for you guys? Like, we've been dealing with this for 20 years now. Jesus fucking Christ. Most of the EU has even made sports betting advertising or casino advertising illegal at this point, and these guys just figuring it out. They looked at the whole world and this incredibly fucked up plague of people being massively exploited by the casino industry, and we're like, yeah, we'll make this legal at home now. We'll make this legal at home.
Sportsbook. FanDuel Casino. FanDuel. Free chicken dinners with FanDuel Casino.
By gambling at
BetMGM Sportsbook. BetMGM. BetMGM. What do you want?
Yeah, is gambling legal in China? Let's see. Is gambling legal in China? Gambling has been outlawed in mainland China for decades now. No rule in Chinese law especially forbids gambling in a foreign country. I guess that's why we see so many Chinese tourists like fucking living in casinos, even in the Balkans. But there we go, okay? Only in Macau, yeah.
From your sportsbook.
Please help me.
Helmet catch.
Stop guessing the helmet catch.
Is it the Caesars Sportsbook app with Caesars rewards where the more you play, the more stuff you earn, and they have fast payouts because Caesar is the man?
Yes! My God, they even got the Tennessee Kardashians. Sports betting has become increasingly normalized in America over the last 6 years, but critics wonder if beneath the legal
Okay, fix the mask. Apologies for the little break.
gambling industry's rise looms a public health crisis of unknown proportions.
Can you only tip with credit card on Streamlabs? I think with PayPal as well. No idea.
So is regulated gambling a healthy future for sports entertainment? Or have we opened a Pandora sportsbook, putting millions of people at risk of addiction? Let's fucking find out.
As a Balkan individual, you have opened the Pandora's shit box of motherfucking addiction, okay? It's arguably the biggest addiction on the Balkan Peninsula, by far, more than heroin or meth or anything you want to think of, or coke for the richer people. Dude, sports betting is fucking insane, dude. Especially because it introduces the idea that as compared to normal gambling, where, you know, in blackjack or poker, you have only a few factors. If you're really into sports, then you really could guess who the real winner is going to be this year. And America being literally a country founded on sports ball praising, oh my God, the sports ball, oh my God, that's going to lead to a lot of so-called experts putting in their fucking kids' college fund down on the Denver Nuggets. Thank you, H9 Noah, for the sub. Welcome, my friend.
Wonderful, a new child soldier, subscriber.
Today, online sports betting is legal in 29 states and the freely associated island nation of Washington, D.C., with more states on the way. And with how quickly sports betting has become ubiquitous in American culture, it's easy to forget that gambling can actually kind of be bad for you.
We've now been able to show over the last...
But that's the brilliance of the gambling industry when it comes to specifically about sports betting, is because, again, to repeat myself, they pitch it to you as like a skills thing. Like, sports betting is a skills thing. If you're really into sports and you really understand it, you can properly play on it. And it's funny enough for, you know, us, especially here on Twitch, to make fun of the sports ball people, because we do it as well. Like, so-called gamers and so on, you can bet on fucking League of Legends leagues and Dota leagues and Counter-Strike leagues, etc., etc. And you're like, man, I really understand Counter-Strike. That's why I really know that this team is going to win next month on the championship, etc., etc. That's the biggest self-replicating fucking PR pitch that they've managed to achieve for themselves, and it works so fucking well because, again, it's a skill issue, quote unquote. It's a skill issue.
Last 25, 30 years, that when people who gamble, the same parts of the brain are being activated as if I were taking alcohol, tobacco, cocaine, or cannabis.
Dr. Tim Fung is the co-director of the UCLA Gambling Studies Program and a clinical professor of psychiatry.
It impacts sleep, it impacts mood, it impacts finances, it impacts relationships. And when you have a product that's being...
Can't believe these guys are so late to this conversation. What the fuck are they talking about? Here in my part of the world, we call gambling the worst addiction because with heroin and cocaine, yes, you fuck up your family, but you fuck up your life the most. How much can you fuck up your family? Obviously, your relationship, and you can steal the TV, you can steal the car, you can steal some watch or some silverware and sell it. With gambling, you can put your whole fucking house on it, okay? Get your mom fucking kicked out of the family home. That's the problem with gambling. It eats up absolutely everything around you, your resources more importantly, and the resources of those who you love, putting them out on the street.
Given out and regulated by the government.
And yes, it's the quickest, as Ufigi said, is the quickest way to fuck up your life, okay? Slowly rolling addiction to substances, while incredibly fucked up and obviously horrible, I don't think I need to say this, is one thing, but gambling in like a day, you can lose everything you've ever owned, okay? Takes a bit longer with coke.
It's got to be regulated and it's got to be understood.
In 2013, the American Psychological Association officially classified gambling as an addiction. Meanwhile, since its 2018 legalization, sports betting has generated a gangbusters amount of economic activity in the U.S. $220 billion in bets were placed in just the first 5 years it was legal. There are now over 16 million average monthly users of the most popular sports betting apps. And next year, online sports betting revenue is expected to approach $12 billion. But to understand this growth trajectory, we gotta talk about something called Daily Fantasy Sports. Daily Fantasy is an online version of fantasy sports, and according to my wife, a terrible reason to have my phone out during our kids' baptism. Fantasy is when you pick a bunch of real players, assemble a fake team out of them, and keep track of their stats. But around 2010, a new turbocharged version of fantasy came onto the scene, where you could set new lineups as often as every day, play in apps on your phone, and crucially, put money down on the results.
So you had two competitors that really arose to the top of the market here, DraftKings and FanDuel.
Kenneth Vogel is a New York Times investigative reporter who was part of a team that wrote a series of major stories about the betting industry's rise in America.
And they made a business out of fantasy sports and allowed play.
And in the United States, it's still very much so an online thing. The brilliant thing that they're doing, like, look at this, okay? Skupa kladionica or something. What should I write? Skupa kladionica. So, but no, sports kladionica. Give me pictures. Okay, so this one looks like shit, right? But they've started, free coffee inside, just like in regular casinos. Sometimes there's food. Sometimes there's like, depending on how much you bet, you can win extra stuff, not just money, etc., etc. They're just like, they're trying to build like a community around it. So that's where people go hang out. Instead of going to your local cafe, you go to the local betting spot, because that's where you get coffee for free, as long as you bet a little bit, etc., etc. They give you, like, you can participate in every league on the planet. You if you find something niche, hey, maybe you can make some money. You can bet with very little money, blah blah blah. But then when you bet with very little money and get a bigger cash out, you immediately start thinking, oh, I should have put in more money, and you go down the fucking rabbit hole, etc., etc. But like, there's really, like, I can't find photos of it, but I've seen and I've gone inside, like, extremely fucking well put together betting stations, if we want to call it that. Like, look at this. This looks pretty fucking good, So it's not just online. It becomes like a thing that you physically go to, and a thing that you kind of feel like, oh, I'm actually the one ripping them off. Like, look, this is a betting station, okay? Max Bet Kladionica. This is a betting station. This looks better than fucking 90% of restaurants in America, okay? And you can drink coffee there, you can eat, you can talk to your friends, and you can, more importantly, fucking bet. And then there's like more fancy ones. So if you've bet enough, you get like a VIP card, so you can go and you can bet in the fancier betting stations, etc., etc. And of course, they have slots everywhere and there.
Players to wager, not wager, but put money on the
Max Bet Marshall. Okay, let me see. Max Bet Marshall. Yeah, look at these fucking places, man. They're like a Taj Mahal, bro. Oh my God, it's called Marshall, like Marshall Tito. Dude, there is a betting station. Fuck you, man. There is a betting spot called after this. Dude, we deserve death. Why did you make me see this? And they're dressed like pionierki. Yeah, but why? Who is this for? Who is this for? Who is this for? Who is this for? Where is it? Jesus, I can't find it. Yeah. You can't, yeah. They keep banning it off the fucking platform.
The performance of their teams, they would push back against the use of the term wager there.
Even though gambling on sports was still broadly illegal, Congress had previously determined that fantasy sports were actually a game of skill, not luck, meaning that putting
there
money
you go. That's the pitch. That's the pitch.
on the results wasn't gambling. Which reminds me a lot of an
The
argument.
number of my fucking literal friends, my actual friends that I've talked to, that I tell them, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, dude, it's a skill thing. I just fucked up. It's a skill thing. I'm going to get it next time. And then all of a sudden, they arrive with a bus, even though they have a car, and they obsess over their car because they lost their fucking car to the thing. Literally happened to me.
My high school friend Chaz used to make about the pullout method. The gray area in which these fantasy companies operated was pretty controversial, even at the time.
Yes, and it is not a skill thing. Please, Jesus Christ, it is not a skill thing. You think the house will ever want to be able to afford itself to lose? Fuck you. You are so naive.
A lot of state attorney generals and even some sportsbook CEOs publicly said that they considered daily fantasy to be gambling, but the industry saw it differently.
So you don't view what you do here at FanDuel as gambling?
No.
That's a word that isn't used very much around here, I take it.
Still, FanDuel and DraftKings clearly understood that they were operating in
This is same like the guys that sold fucking Oxy. We're not drug dealers. we're selling heroin in a pill, but we're not drug dealers.
Waters, and made a huge lobbying push to defend themselves.
And they pay so well, man. They pay so well.
They were pretty successful. By 2017, 19 states had passed
Not to
laws
the people gambling.
explicitly legalizing daily fantasy sports. But this effort wasn't just about creating a legal framework for daily fantasy. The industry's big kahuna was still out there, swimming around in the deep blue sea, just waiting to be caught. I'm talking about full-on sports betting.
Breaking news: the Supreme Court this morning striking down the federal ban on sports betting. Now it leaves it up to the states.
When that happened, the industry was ready to get lobbying, thanks to their powerful network of relationships in state capitals that they built during their daily fantasy push.
There was a lot of like whining and dining. That was my colleague Eric Lipton, and a photographer who went out to Kansas.
No, here's some sports betting.
This is a party that was sponsored by the industry, by lobbyists who were representing the industry. The lawmakers were smoking cigars and drinking expensive scotch that was provided by the lobbyists and sort of schmoozing with them as the debate was unfolding a few blocks away in the Capitol.
The industry's main arguments for legal sports betting, both then and now, are to fight black market gambling and...
But if you're looking for where to spend your money, instead of wasting it on gambling, please do consider supporting Marshall Max Bet Ugopnik and avoid the ad that is going to play in exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 420, baby. Thank you very much for your consideration. Don't gamble. Give money to Twitch streamers. Da.
and generate tax revenue.
There's this big illegal market and there's no consumer protections, no tax revenue being generated. Why don't we just bring that
10 out of 10.
in-house?
A lot of states are understanding that it's really just...
Always bet on Ugopnik, because that is always going to come out as more valuable to you, especially for $5.
Common sense legislation to allow mobile sports betting. It raises...
No, EcoWaves, you cannot. Do not gift. Do not.
Tax revenues, and it puts an illegal market out of business.
And look, I know it's easy to go around bashing these corporate CEOs, especially when they got this mid-as-hell Zoom background. What is this, a map of the lands you plan to conquer? Why do you have a black and white photo of the Industrial Revolution behind you? Come on, Matt. It could be worse. You've got some work to do, buddy. But my point, which I'm making very clearly and without getting sidetracked, my point is that the gambling black market is a problem, and regulating it would generate tax revenue.
One of our biggest concerns, we have so much of the unregulated sports betting market, right? So these are the websites that are based in who knows where. They take all electronic, financing, so they're not subjected to the regulations of the state. But trying to shut them down is impossible because you don't even know where they exist.
Now, it's impossible to know the exact size of the black market at this time, but some estimates had Americans illegally betting as much as $150 billion per year.
Okay, this is different. This is a very, thank you, Tip Boyo, for the sub. Okay.
Wonderful.
So
a new child
they
soldier.
will not listen to the argument that maybe legalization of narcotics is the right way to go because they spend billions and billions of dollars on the war on drugs, which disproportionately annihilates minorities, spends taxpayer money, and literally leads to almost as much fucking killing and death as the addiction that people are going through. All this money that could instead go to better educate people from getting addicted, and more importantly, to go to help people who are currently addicted to different types of narcotics. Okay, that argument they don't want to listen to, even though it makes absolutely perfect fucking sense. But they do want to listen to the argument that hey, gambling is going to happen because it's on black market, so we might as well legalize it. Well, there is no fucking drug gamble war, okay? You're not already spending billions of dollars to crack down on the illegal gambling markets. You're like, instead of spending this money, we should maybe spend it to help people who no longer want to gamble and want to get out of the hole that they find themselves in with their addiction. Those are very two different fucking problems. Because there is no so-called war on gambling right now, using the argument that we should legalize it doesn't stand, because that is literally just going to allow more people to do fucking drugs. Okay, if we had a system in place that was spending billions and billions of dollars to help people who are currently addicted on narcotics or any sort of substance for that matter, and then maybe we could have a conversation about making things illegal, etc., but not necessarily making things illegal. That's still going to be a stupid argument, but just making them well, not legal, de-illegalize, or whatever the fucking term is, right? That's a completely different conversation than just making gambling far more available to everyone, which is what, only going to hurt the black market gamblers who already have infrastructure and probably going to be the first ones to go into that particular industry. Like I can see literally the parallels they're trying to make, and there is no parallel to be made between the absolutely progressive idea of stopping the war on drugs and literally a like very simple solution for all non-opiates, I'm talking heroin and so on, to be decriminalized. That was the term, I apologize. To be decriminalized in order to lower just how many people are getting killed on the street because of the war on drugs and how many people are being killed because of their addiction to the substance through, again, this money being redirected in helping them instead of arresting them and putting them in jail for 10 years and causing this cycle to continuously repeat. Well, with gambling, it's completely different because, again, this is just allowing people better access to these massive corporations which are going to make billions of dollars off of their addiction. Very two different arguments. One should be decriminalized, one should absolutely be criminalized because of the material circumstances in which it finds itself in. And that is the drug of war existing on one side and the war on drugs existing, the drugs of war. The war on drugs existing on one side and absolutely no war on gambling existing on the other side, okay?
Industry
purely predatory behavior.
Second point was that if states did vote to legalize, it would instantly create tax revenue.
One of the things that the industry, sports betting industry, had going for it, after 2018 was, it's
war on dogs.
Sort of a perverse way to think about it, but it was the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic put a real dent in state budgets.
So the black market, the promise of tax revenue, state budgets absolutely decimated by the pandemic. It was the perfect storm for sports betting companies to capitalize on. And capitalize, they have.
There's a huge investor appetite around it. The companies are turning over massive amounts of money. Everyone's very excited.
Oliver Barnes is a reporter for the Financial Times who's been covering the gambling industry both in the US and the UK.
Lawmakers are also quite excited, right? Because you're sitting in a state that's yet to legalize sports betting. You have a whole load of tax revenues you can just switch on there overnight.
But in reality, many states who have voted to legalize have seen less tax revenue than expected.
The industry, the sports betting companies and the gambling trade groups push for lower tax rates.
While lobbying for legalization in states like Kansas, the industry argued that the best way for states to maximize their tax revenue would actually be to tax betting companies less because it would create an easier market for the companies to operate in.
Epic.
Oh.
We epic.
Okay, whatever you say, Mr. Businessman. All right. But in 14 jurisdictions that legalized and followed the industry's tax advice, revenues in 2022 were nearly $150 million less than...
Hey, maybe we should fill our tax coffers by increasing taxes on the ultra-wealthy corporations. No, let's actually introduce more ultra-wealthy corporations to the economy and tax them less. I am an American politician. Please vote for me. Yes, I represent your interests. Yes, absolutely. Oh, by the way, can we send a bit more nukes to the fucking Israelis?
Predicted. And in addition to negotiating lower tax rates, the industry also convinced many states to classify huge chunks of their advertising spend as tax
Thank you, Lexi G, for the sub. Welcome to the community, my beautiful child soldier.
Write-offs.
When we talk about deductions for advertising and marketing, what we're really talking about is the promotional bets. And so what that is you see an ad and it says, get your first $100 of like free bets, or like we'll match your first $100 or what have you. And this is like an incentive that the gambling companies are using to bring in new customers. And what they did was they convinced lawmakers in most states to allow them to deduct the cost of these promotional bets.
In 2022 alone, the industry gave out almost $1 billion in these promo bets, costing states...
Also, every celebrity who takes fucking gambling company money, fucking piss on them from the 5th floor with the dirtiest fucking non-hydrated piss you have in your body. Okay? Like, Jesus Christ.
More than $120
No excuses.
million in potential taxes. States are losing money on promotional bets. I'm losing money on promotional bets. You and I aren't so different after all, Kansas.
Twitch TOS listener, that was a meme about me saying don't consume their products or watch their movies. Jesus Christ.
Maybe this could work out between us. And though tax revenue generated by the industry post-legalization has been underwhelming, you might say the opposite about its approach to marketing.
Spreads to cover, overs to hit, and chances to live bet from the first down to the final whistle.
Download BetMGM. You know what to do.
Fucking horrendous.
The industry spent about $300 million on TV ads in 2023 and an estimated $1.8 billion in local markets. This marketing push even made it to college campuses. One deal between Michigan State and Caesars Sportsbook lets Caesars Caesarize part of its campus. Another between Colorado Boulder and PointsBet gave the school $30 every time one of their students signed up for the app and placed a bet. Granted, there's a lot of backlash to these deals. The lead gambling industry trade group now prohibits marketing on college campuses. And since then, Michigan State, Colorado, and other schools have canceled their partnerships. But what's so bad about these ads?
Oh, but they're just making the money, you know, that's stimulating the thing. Listen to this motherfucker. Pretty reactionary individual, but great analysis on. For example, he refuses to take absolutely any money from bet shit.
Наверное, единственный уже в России остался, который не сотрудничает с букмекерами вот в плане спонсорства и прочего. Это твое решение или принципиальное решение?
Ну, у нас есть достаточно хорошие спонсора, с которыми мы можем заходить, делать турниры. Мы не нуждаемся в букмекерах. Почему? Потому что я считаю, что это даже еще опаснее, чем алкоголь. Например, чем рекламировать алкоголь, она еще хуже, потому что букмекеры, они рушат целые семьи. И вы сами это знаете, сколько семей, которые, ребята молодые, которые заходят вот на эту платформу.
So yes, you can very much so be in an industry that very much so depends on advertisers and getting sponsorship deals, etc., without fucking partaking in the horror which is the gambling industry. You might as well just get fucking Mexican drug, I'm sorry, not Mexican, genuine drug cartels to fucking sponsor your shit. Not much of a fucking difference. At least selling coke is a bit more honest, in my opinion, because we've all come to the conclusion that, hey, doing coke is bad. But apparently, as we see from this documentary, not a lot of Americans understand that, oh my God, gambling, but with a few more fucking caveats, also bad.
Anyway, getting Caesarized sounds fun.
The public health issue is that this is an addictive product.
Oh, I get it. Too fun. Richard Daynard is the lawyer who designed the litigation strategy against the tobacco industry, resulting in Big Tobacco coughing up over $200 billion and changing the way they market cigarettes. We lied and told him we were 60 Minutes, and he agreed to tell us about his next target, the sports betting industry.
There's the denial of dangers, presenting this thing as simply a harmless way to have fun. March 10th of last year, of 2023. That was the day that sports betting was unleashed in Massachusetts. There was just massive marketing. There'd be trash containers, it'd be on the side of buses, as well as on,
And we forget that as compared to, for example, narco cartels, the gambling industry can fucking advertise every fucking inch of every fucking city, fucking downtown area, or especially poor areas that they really, really fucking prey on, okay? So that there's also a power disbalance there that needs to be mentioned. Jesus Christ, why is this even a conversation, man? Americans so late to the party as always.
Television, just about anything you turned on would have an ad for.
And the problem with streaming at this time is that almost all of chat is not American, so we can't bully them because they're not even here, bro.
One of the companies.
Unfortunately, it's been a while since I've turned anything on, Professor. Daynard's Public Health Advocacy Institute recently backed a lawsuit in Massachusetts against DraftKings, and its focus is on one of those fun tax write-off promotional ads.
Oh yeah, there are some Americans in chat. Chat, please proceed to bully them. Thank you.
According to the lawsuit, DraftKings knowingly and unfairly designed a $1,000 sign-up bonus. The $1,000 comes in the form of additional bets, which customers could only get if they first deposited $5,000, risked $25,000 within 90 days, and bet on events with worse odds than 3-1, which doesn't sound like I'm gonna get $1,000.
The idea is for you to continue to bet, which is the way you develop and heighten an addiction, which is you keep at it, you keep doing it. We hope to encourage other litigation. This is hardly the only deceptive ad running in the United States.
And there is some backlash building.
We don't see cannabis ads on TV, do we? We don't see a lot of tobacco ads on TV.
I swear to God, not pre-watched, okay? Not fucking pre-watched. I fucking see the future, and I know arguments better than anybody else on the planet, including co-directors of UCLA gambling studies program, okay?
And all that has an impact on what people think and feel about that product, right? When you look at the gambling ads right now, They're all 120% positive.
Regulators in Ohio doled out almost $1 million in fines last year to betting companies for advertising that customers could make free bets. Massachusetts and other states have moved to legally ban advertising on college campuses. And all the way up there in Maine, lawmakers proposed banning cartoon characters, celebrities, athletes, and entertainers from being able to appear in ads. Which might sound extreme to us here in America, but is actually very similar to the way that lots of other countries regulate gambling advertising.
In the UK, there's like a whistle-to-whistle ban on football matches. You can't advertise like during a football match in terms of like TV commercials. Because of the advertising environment where you're bombarded with ads, it's very difficult to kind of escape that habit of like recurrently gambling.
The UK has also banned gambling logos on the front of Premier League jerseys, and other regulators want to move even further. In Australia, gambling ads are banned during games between 5 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. In Belgium and the Netherlands have fully banned gambling advertising on TV, radio, newspapers, and in public spaces. And these regulations are all a reaction to the way that gambling has proliferated in these countries post-legalization. The UK Gambling Commission earlier this year said that as many as 2.5% of their adult population could be problem gambling. Meanwhile,
Jesus
in Australia, citizens lose more gambling per capita than in any other country. And some worry that if the
Yeah, watch the boy video on gambling if you want to fucking tackle this. We can watch it in the future. I don't want to make this whole stream about gambling, but yeah, they do a great coverage.
US isn't careful, we might not learn from these more mature markets.
The real issue is, are we escalating up to a tipping point where we could develop a gambling crisis, like a gambling epidemic like we had with opioids? I don't think we're there yet, and I think having these conversations now should, I think, prevent and mitigate a lot of those things like that.
Well, it's all in a day's work, Dr. Fong. Happy to solve a public health crisis whenever, sir. So outside of ad regulations, what are some options that we have to create a safer, legalized sports betting market? One obvious tool is self-exclusion, which just means giving people the option to tell these sports betting companies, hey, don't let me use these apps ever.
Yeah, that exists here. People just go to the nearby state that isn't part of your local state's self-exclusion act, and they gamble. Doesn't really work. Helps. Okay, do it. Okay, helps, but this is not a permanent solution.
Ever again. But US self-exclusion technology lags behind the UK's.
So I go to FanDuel and I say, I want to stop gambling, self-exclude me from FanDuel, which you can do in the US. But you then also have to go and self-exclude yourself from all the other apps. In some states, you can go to the state regulator and say, please self-exclude me from all of them. But in some states, that's an online process where you fill in a form. In some states, you literally have to write them a letter. And you compare that to the UK, where I go and ban myself from one betting app, they'll ban me from all of them. When you look at the US, the actual safety mechanisms in place, there's just considerably less of them.
Other areas where the US can make improvements include eliminating betting with credit cards, which 20 states allow, taking a closer look at live betting during games, where bettors can wager on things like how fast the next pitch will be, bets where the odds are more advantageous for the sportsbooks than normal, and increasing the amount of public funding towards problem gambling resources. In fact, 9 states provided zero funding for problem gambling services in 2023, and according to Dr. Fong, problem gambling receives just a fraction of the resources versus...
There's a poll currently playing on where you're from. Please reply on it so we know where everybody's coming in from. Thank you very kindly.
Comparable programs for drugs and alcohol.
Because the fundings that's available for gambling research and treatment compared to alcohol, tobacco, and substances is infinitesimal. It's tiny, barely registered.
Bars.
So we need to better understand, how do we keep people in that lane of social, recreational gambling without harm?
Looking at all of these legal problems, lawsuits, and Kevin Hart telling me to download an app he probably doesn't use, it just makes me wonder if this has all been worth it. Is the industry right when they argue that the legalized system we're creating is better than just the good old black market? I don't know. What does someone with a smarter voice think?
There's some truth in it, right? Which is, yes, they shifted a large number of consumers from the black market where there are no protections at all into a regulated market where there are some protections. But for me, I think the main thing that's understated in all of that is just the denominator. But if you just have more people exposed to gambling products, you're likely to get a large number of people who face the negative side effects of gambling, which is a small proportion. But if you have hundreds of millions of people using the product, it's large, right?
I think it's disingenuous to say that, you know, this is a safer environment for all these people, because a lot of those people would not have been gambling, I imagine, on sports.
Exactly. And while the argument for decriminalization of narcotics absolutely works, this one doesn't, because they're completely different. I'm not going to repeat myself, for fuck's sakes.
Unless it was just shown to them all over.
Can I do a British accent? I'm very bad with accents, mate. I'm very bad with accents. Jesus, it's fucking horrible. Yee. Tea and biscuits. Our whole island is basically fucking built on incest, mate.
And all these ads and everything.
Saul Malik is a former gambling addict who now travels the country speaking about the risks of sports betting.
I do think that the technology, of course, will accelerate it and also turn people who say they're sports bettors into casino players very quickly, because the need for action speeds up as it progresses as an addiction.
Well, the good news is now with all this growth, the sports betting industry is gonna...
Speaking of accents, this is my favorite fucking video of all time.
Hey, Bobby, look, I'm American. I think I'll use my credit card. Do you guys have anything non-dairy? Anything gluten-free? Hey, Bobby, look, I'm American.
Oh.
I think I'll use my credit card. Do you guys have anything non-dairy? Anything gluten-free? Hey, Bobby, look, I'm American. I think I'll use my credit card. Do you guys have anything non-dairy?
So good. It's such a classic. Oh.
Is going to take a beat and clear their heads and really take some time to get this thing right before we escalate any further.
There's actually even a further holy grail that they're still fighting for, and that they, even at that early juncture back in the 2010s, were looking at as something that was the ultimate goal.
Oh no, what's that, Ken?
And that is iGaming. It's essentially like full casino gambling on your phone. Turn every phone into a blackjack table or a slot machine or whatever that could operate 24/7.
Right now, iGaming is only legal in 6 states, and I'm sure for many of you, combining doom scrolling with doom slotting seems crazy. But also at one point, so was taking this sucker out, dialing up a heater of a parlay and throwing that shit on your Amex. Legally. But think of how far we've come with sports betting. I mean, look at the NFL. In 2003, the NFL wanted to distance themselves from the industry so much they rejected a proposal for Las Vegas to air a tourism ad during the Super Bowl. And now, the Eagles are doing paid partnership posts with DraftKings. In 2 days, the Super Bowl is going to be in Las Vegas. If all of this could happen in 6 years, who's to say what could happen in 6 more? 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. I mean, it's hard to imagine, really. But if anything, it's important to recognize that we...
America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel Casino.
FanDuel.
Wait, no, I'm sorry.
DraftKings. Playoffs, baby. The crown is yours.
I'm trying to finish the...
Oh, snap. DraftKings' new sportsbook app.
For good work,
There's no better feeling than a win, except a BetMGM win.
Oh God, sellouts.
For good work, I'm Dave.
Sellouts.
I think for anyone in the audience,
Speaking of
curious,
sellouts, I'm willing to sell myself out for you. I'm doing this for you, to not have to watch ads like this ad that is going to play in exactly 1 minute. So instead of betting the $5 or nothing if you use Prime, do consider becoming a subscriber. Yes, betting bad, sending money to Twitch streamers good, because more emojis and absolutely no motherfucking ads. Thank you very much. www.twitch.com/YouGopnikTwitch. Your great next gambling, streaming destination.
Curious about their own relationship with money or with gambling, or worried about someone else's. The best thing is to just get informed. There are a lot of websites now, like the National Council on Problem Gambling, or they can look at our website, uclagamblingprogram.org. Almost every state in America has gambling help, like 1-800-GAMBLER is an easy first stop to get professional support.
Hey, my bowl of cereal, Betterhelp.
Great video. And now we have to be the freshest of boys. We have seen how media does what media does. Let's watch a video with a very general title, probably at the masses, about the masses, by our boy Second Thought. my overlord, my owner, the man whose basement I'm currently sitting in, as he's screaming at me, dude, tell them about the cat book you will show when we reach 1,000 subscribers. You're not making me enough money, you gopnik, you dirty Balkan slave. Okay, JT Daddy, I apologize. Thank you, CMS, for the gifted sub to Circle Onkar. So, with that being said, I remind you, 1K, and we get some motherfucking cats. Oh my god, Jocula with 10 gifted subs. And at this point, we are only 1 sub away from the cats. Thank you, Jocula. That is Jocula's 21st gift sub. Say thank you to this beautiful, beautiful, probably Balkan human being, at least, according to the name. Thank you kindly. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And another Dr. Sleepy Fist with another 5 gifted subs. That means what? That means some motherfucking cats up in this motherfucker.
到我们的企业版内，这里本身当家做主人，一夜一次又漂亮会的话，这里本身当家做主人。
1000 gifted subs means
天上太阳风呀风冲冲嘞，心中的太阳是毛色的嘞，看看到我们被用前进嘞，革命江山一夜一天风嘞，一夜一次又太阳之后啊，革命江山一夜一天风。
A beautiful, beautiful, white, Aryan cat, which refuses to believe in racial theories and instead supports the great proletarian movement. A beautiful black cat which understands that black cat capitalism is not the answer, and that unity between all cats of all races goes above and beyond to reach everyone's interest. Unity between working class white and black cats. The cat. Beautiful thick cat has been hated for millennia because of the different beauty standards. Now she understands that together with class consciousness, beauty standards are also questioned, and she supports the great cause. And one last cat that you very much so deserve is a mix of this, a biracial, beautiful cat with some melanin but also green eyes, a true amalgamation of the future of cats, which have been uplifted from inter-bigoted hatred to the great dialectic. Welcome you to cat communism.
天上太阳风呀风风通嘞，心中的太阳是毛色的嘞，看到我们被用天气嘞，革命江山一片红嘞，说了啦子一样，一片红嘞。
You are here for fucking cats. And Playlibs agrees completely and gives another dono. Welcome, cat lovers.
Wonderful.
Welcome,
a new child
welcome,
soldier.
welcome.
Subscriber.
I salute you. Jesus, this mask sucks. It's very uncomfortable. Are we supposed to not hear you? Yes, to an extent, because of the song. I hope you heard my shit. Phrasing, yeah, apologies. Okay, we did intersectional cat analysis. Now let's go into how the media controls the masses. The masses. Crazy hamburger. Crazy hamburger.
Second Thought is now on Memes.
And thank you, Abishi, for the 5 gifted subs. That's the 46th fucking sub by Abishi. Thank you kindly. You people are absolutely beautiful. That gives you another cat. Okay, I'm sorry, but one more cat. I spoil you too much. I know. I spoil you too much. And this, what we missed is the... Wait, let me open this. Opa. This is the academic cat, the intellectual who was previously told that intellectuals are only accepted by the bourgeoisie. But no, the many awarded intellectual cat understands that the struggle for the working peoples is in no way different than the struggle for greater intellectual and educational stratas. There we go. Okay. I'm done embarrassing myself to an extent, even though I kind of enjoy the sport. And thank you very much for the level 6 hype train. Fucking sick. Now, how the media controls the masses. Let's listen to this dirty American communist lie to us about the state of the world, shall we? But before we go into that, I would like to genuinely encourage all our beautiful viewers over on YouTube to migrate to Twitch, where this stream will continue exclusively in 5 minutes. Yes, the YouTube stream will die, and the Twitch stream, as always, after the 3rd hour of streaming, will be the only place to listen. Thank you. Join us. Become my favorite child. Now, let us continue.
TV. You can get your first month 50% off when you sign up with the link below. What is...
Thank you very much, Sundare-chan. More commie cats, always. Also, come over.
When you turn on the TV
Twitch, I
and
mean.
flip to CNN or Fox or NBC, what are you being shown? Ostensibly, the news is just that, a presentation of current events. I think we all know there's a little more to it. Every network has a bias, and if you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that the corporate media as a whole has a single overarching bias. But we'll get to that. The question we need to answer today is, in a world where information is more readily available than ever, are we truly informed, or are we being manipulated?
Yes. Thank you for the question, JT. Yes.
Whether you consider yourself to be on the left or on the right, odds are you think the media is dishonest. Well, pat yourself on the back. You're absolutely right. But in the United States, most people tend to think about the media being dishonest in a particular way. If you ask someone on the right, they'll say CNN and MSNBC are fake news. They're twisting the truth to make conservatives look bad.
Welcome, YouTube
And if you
refugees.
ask someone on the American left, they'll say Fox shouldn't be considered a news network at all, and they only exist to make liberals look bad. While there is some genuine beef between liberal and conservative outlets, and their viewership often does kind of hate each other, that's not the kind of dishonesty that really matters. Yes, MSNBC loves to make fun of Trump's mannerisms, and Fox loves to highlight Biden's gaffes. But at the end of the day, all these corporate networks play for the same team, and that's powerful interests that not only own the media, but pretty much every aspect of modern politics. Here's a quick rundown. You have a tremendously wealthy group of people and business interests. They donate large sums of money to politicians. Politicians deregulate the media. Now these ultra-wealthy players have both elected officials and media outlets in their pocket. What do they do with that influence? They spend a little bit of money, relatively speaking, we're still talking millions, to make sure our society is structured in such a way that they can make a lot of money.
Gregor McIntosh, who is a very common chatter over on YouTube chat, and I really appreciate them always tuning in. I wish you treated us and Twitch as equals. Well, my friend, compared to apartheid states that exist in the world, here it is literally a click away from you. Join the dark side. Join Jeff Bezos' army. Just click on that link and come over on Twitch. Trust me, you will be deeply embraced by the reactionary hordes of my beautiful, beautiful elitist Twitch chat. It only takes a second. Welcome. Also, in 2 minutes, the YouTube stream is dying.
That means the passing of bills that allow, for example, oil drilling in protected areas. That also means providing scripts to local news networks to spin their actions as positive and win over the public. Remember that viral clip from a few years ago?
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
That was the work of a company called Sinclair Broadcasting, which owns dozens of local news channels and had a message they wanted to put in front of the viewers. This, in a nutshell, is how corporate mind control works. Invest in politics, buy favorable legislation, make sure the public doesn't get too angry by controlling the narrative. Most people watching this video are probably too young to remember, but before 2001, the 24-hour news cycle didn't exist. Being bombarded with manipulated information 24/7 is a relatively new phenomenon, and we're only just beginning to understand the consequences.
Well, we talked about previously. That includes media, but it includes advertising. That includes, when it comes to political propaganda, advertising that does not define itself as advertising, and more importantly, and specifically, so-called mainstream journalism, at least profit-driven journalism, is defined as objective truth, while it very much so aligns its coffers from particular interest groups. We've talked about this plenty of times, but the only objective journalist is the one that says, the only journalist close to objectivism is the one that outwardly states their subjective bias in their reporting and the perspective from which they come.
The main takeaway from the last 20 years or so is that corporate...
Speaking of bias, my bias is coming to an end. YouTube, please click on the link and come over. In exactly 5 seconds, the stream will end on YouTube. You have the link in the description. Click it and come join your brothers in the supreme state of Twitch chat. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you don't join, see you next time. Bye-bye. There we go. Rest in peace, Twitch chat. Rest in peace, Twitch chat. YouTube chat. Sorry. Oh my God. No. Rest in peace, YouTube chat. There you go. Done. Private save. And we continue with our regularly scheduled broadcast. Now in the pure sanctity of Twitch.
Media not only influences, but often dictates public opinion, shaping narratives to serve particular interests, even at the cost of human lives, as evidenced by its complicity in the genocide of the Palestinian people, which we'll talk about in a minute. But first, just one quick statistic. There are about 3,000 outlets that are considered sources of news in the US. All of them are owned by one of just 21 companies, and every single major news outlet, we're talking CNN, MSNBC, Fox, NBC, all the big ones, are owned by just 5. This quasi-monopoly allows the people who own these companies to feed the masses a twisted
oligopoly, cartel, I know words.
Version of reality, and make people believe whatever they want us to believe. This creates an environment in which only the news that fits the interest of the individuals who own these private companies makes it to the public. This corporate domination of the media goes hand in hand with the corporate domination of the government.
Thank you, Anonymous, for the gifted sub. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Xi Jinping. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It perpetuates a system where absurdly wealthy individuals run the show without ever needing to be elected. Let's take a look at a currently ongoing case study. The joint US-Israeli genocide of Palestine. I've given a history of the ethnic cleansing campaign in previous videos, which I'll link in the description, as well as some other resources to give you some context if you're not familiar with the situation. The very short version is this. The Israeli apartheid regime has been attempting to ethnically cleanse Palestinian land of its indigenous population for over 75 years. The brutality sharply escalated in the aftermath of a surprise attack by the Palestinian resistance on October 7th. Since then, Israel has killed at least 30,000 people, roughly half of whom are children. It's hard to even get accurate counts anymore because the IDF has purposefully destroyed every hospital in Gaza, as well as infrastructure, schools, refugee camps, and international aid vehicles. The footage coming out of Gaza is horrific. This is the most widely shared and recorded genocide in history. So it would stand to reason that Western media would be journalistically obligated to report these facts, right? This is where it becomes apparent that the corporate media absolutely does not provide factual reporting. Since October 7th, the media has dutifully reported Israeli propaganda word for word with zero evidence. The accusation of 40 babies being beheaded was proven to be a lie. US media is still running with it. The accusations of mass sexual assault were proven to be a lie. The media hasn't walked that one back either. The Hamas headquarters under hospitals? A lie. Literally every accusation Israel has made has turned out to be a complete fabrication. And yet the media still twist themselves into knots to let Israel off the hook. Why? We'll get to that in a minute, but first let's take a look at some concrete examples of media complicity in genocide. We'll start with the nuts and bolts of how media spin works. If you're thinking, well, who the hell is this guy to explain this stuff? My degree was in journalism and mass communication. This is my bread and butter. I specifically chose not to go into mainstream journalism because of this exact problem. All of these rhetorical tricks are very common, but they're also super easy to see through.
This is really smart that the right wing has always used, calling it mainstream and calling it stupid and biased because of it. And I really like that us in the general left-wing propaganda sphere, if we want to call it that, are starting to use that sort of terminology as well, because it really works, at least with people who are like, man, I don't want to be brainwashed by the mainstreams. It's really good to get those people and then, input some fucking class consciousness in their brains. I like this approach.
Once you know how to look out for them. Take this headline, for example. Starvation is stalking Gaza's
I
children.
gotta go take a piss. Enjoy my boy, and I'm gonna pause the ad that's coming. Don't tell me I don't treat you well, especially YouTube refugees complaining about ads.
Okay, at first glance, that seems alright. It recognizes that children in Gaza are starving. What's the issue here? I bet you can guess. It doesn't address the critical question of why they're starving. People don't just randomly starve en masse. It leaves out that teeny little bit of information that Israel is purposefully starving these people. They control the roads in and out of Gaza. They have blocked humanitarian aid for months. They have opened fire on children swimming out into the ocean to retrieve airdrop supplies. At time of writing, the world just witnessed what will be called by future generations the Flower Massacre, where Israeli troops lured Palestinians to a vital food drop, then butchered them, killing over 100 people and wounding 700 more. There's a picture circulating of a parcel of flour soaked in blood, which people are calling the most expensive bag of flour in human history. Palestinians have been forced to resort to eating grass, animal feed, giving newborns a date wrapped in cloth to suck on, anything to give them a little sustenance. And of course, these people are dying. This is Israel's doing. It is intentional. It is a war crime. So when the New York Times, the most respected paper on earth, leaves out that critical piece of information, it lets Israel off the hook for genocide. A responsible headline would be, Israel is starving Gaza's children. And while we're on the subject of the Flower Massacre, it's sickening to see perhaps the most blatant war crime yet get twisted to avoid naming the perpetrators. Here's the New York Times on the event. Live updates. In chaotic Gaza scene, many are killed and wounded as Israelis open fire. This is another one where the average person might think this is an acceptable, if strangely worded, headline. Let's break it down. What happened? Starving Palestinians were baited into a killing field by much-needed food aid and then were butchered by Israeli troops. How would you spin that? Instead of saying massacre, you could use chaotic scene. You're not technically lying, massacres are chaotic. Instead of citing the death and injury statistics, you could just say many. That makes it more palatable. Then instead of explicitly saying the occupation forces targeted and shot the starving people, you could simply say they opened fire, helping stoke the misconception that people were killed not by Israeli troops, but in a stampede. This is journalistic malpractice at its best. You maintain plausible deniability while completely obfuscating the reality of the event. A responsible headline would be, Massacre in Gaza. 100 killed, 700 wounded as IDF fire on starving Palestinians assembling to receive food aid. It gets all the facts across, it's just as concise, and it doesn't let the perpetrator off the hook. But the New York Times isn't alone in obfuscating the truth of this story. There are countless other examples. The Associated Press doesn't mention Israel, neither does Forbes, or Voice of America. USA Today even repeats Israeli lies despite video evidence of what happened. But perhaps most egregious is the BBC's headline. Israel-Gaza war. More than 100 killed as crowd waits for aid, Hamas-run health ministry says. This is truly reprehensible. Not only do they not mention that the IDF were the murderers, they also disingenuously call the genocide a war, and they manage to squeeze big scary Hamas into a story that has nothing to do with Hamas. Even if you think Hamas are terrorists. In which case, I have bad news for you about what you would have thought about every other historical liberation movement. Saying Hamas-run health ministry is like saying United States-run health.
Did my chair react really well? Rate my chair react out of 10.
Ministry. Hamas is the elected government
Ever played Disco Elysium? Jesus Christ, yes, the shit out of it.
Palestine. All the BBC is trying to do here is scare people by invoking the name of the current Western boogeyman. Let's take another example. Once again, from the New York Times. Hamas rejects ceasefire proposal, dashing Biden's hopes of near-term deal. That sounds pretty bad. I thought the Palestinian people wanted a ceasefire. Must be that evil Hamas not caring about their people again. Let's take a quick look at the article. What's this? Hamas is maintaining their position of demanding a long-term ceasefire, not the brief humanitarian pause policy wonks have come up with. So what's the real story here? The elected government of Palestine has maintained the same position as always. Israel makes a ludicrous offer of Palestine releasing their prisoners in exchange for a brief ceasefire, after which point the genocide will continue.
And this is additionally important what my beautiful boy JT is talking about, because due to our incredibly short memory span, we literally only read the titles. And very often these companies protect themselves by saying, hey, you should have actually read the article. It's much more
Wonderful, a new child soldier,
properly
subscriber.
Argued in it, while the title is extremely basic, and in this case, for example, avoids the complacency of Israel in the mass murder that is happening. But at the end of the day, that doesn't change the fact that, the most impactful aspect of your whole article, which is the fucking title, which is mostly what everybody sees, is what kind of defines attitudes towards a particular event or movement even. Thank you, Len247, for the sub. Thank you kindly. Avoiding the ad that is going to play in exactly 2 minutes. If you want to be like Len247, please do consider becoming a sub for $5 or for free through Prime per month. Thank you kindly.
And somehow the headline they come up with is Hamas rejects ceasefire. But there's more to it. Obvious Hamas scaremongering aside, the headline also...
Honestly, chair better react than Hassan chair. You should make them fight so we can sports bet on chair fighting. I mean, I do have a superior chair. Also, did you see the back of the chair? It says the program. Wait, let me show you. I mean, the sticker is falling off, but the program sticker.
Also tries to paint Biden in a good
Wonderful,
light.
a new child soldier,
This is very
subscriber.
sneaky.
Thank you, a social communist, for the sub for 2 months. Welcome for the next 2 months. Thank you kindly.
The fact of the matter, regardless of how Biden and the pundit class have tried to spin it, is that the United States and Joe Biden are complicit in the genocide. The U.S. has vetoed the ceasefire not once, but twice. We have sent weapons and funding to Israel to facilitate the ethnic cleansing. And now reports are coming out that there in fact are American soldiers in occupied Palestine taking active part in the genocide. This was suspected when the White House put out and then quickly deleted a tweet suggesting as much a few months ago, and has been all but confirmed with Aaron Bushnell's statements and the photos of US soldiers circulating online. Let's be honest here, this is not just the Israeli genocide of Palestine. This is the US-Israeli genocide of Palestine. If we fund and arm the murderers, if we veto the ceasefire, if our media does everything it can to deflect the blame, we are complicit. And the New York Times trying to suggest he's working so hard for peace makes our media complicit. And these are just a tiny handful of examples of how the media twists their words, omits crucial details, and just straight up repeats debunked Israeli propaganda. There are hundreds more from the last few months alone. But I want to talk about one example that should be the nail in the coffin of US media legitimacy. You probably saw this story by the New York Times back in December of 2023. It was a bombshell report. There was evidence of mass sexual assault on October 7th. Maybe it wasn't just an oppressed people resisting their executioners. Maybe these were the barbarians at the gates. This story was a key galvanizing force in uniting the West in support of Israel's ethnic cleansing campaign. And if the average person were to read the article, it seems pretty damning. Wow, they say there's overwhelming evidence. Who could possibly defend these monsters? There's only one problem. Well, two problems. One, there wasn't any evidence. And two, it was written by an IDF soldier with no journalism experience and attributed to another writer.
That was really insane. That was really fucking insane. That one would expect them to at least do like modern propaganda, which is everything that JT has been talking about previously. But as we can see, sometimes just classic shits manages to meander in between the lines, and not only just meander, but become a huge thing, which is the main argument about October 7th at this point.
Brilliant expose by The Intercept revealed just how absurd the story actually was. This is Anat Schwartz, Israeli filmmaker and former IDF intelligence official. She was approached by the New York Times to work on a story about sexual violence on October 7th. Schwartz was hesitant. recounting on Israel's Channel 12 podcast that she had, quote, no qualifications, and on another podcast that, quote, it was more of a case of the New York Times having to convince me. She got over her initial hesitancy and agreed to work with Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Jeffrey Gettleman on the story. Gettleman, a veteran reporter for the Times, typically does much of the legwork for his stories. But interestingly, in this case, it was the complete novice who did most of the on-the-ground reporting. Gettleman acted more as an assembler for the data Schwartz provided. On the podcast, she would make it clear that the Times already had their preferred story in mind, that there was indeed mass sexual violence on October 7th. All she had to do was deliver the details. She went on to recount her extensive efforts to find any evidence whatsoever to support the claims. She called every hospital, crisis center, hotline, trauma recovery center, and psychiatric doctor in Israel, and not one of them reported a single instance of assault. This was a problem for the Times, so she kept digging, looking for anything that could at least suggest that the paper's claims were legitimate. Eventually, and by her own...
I'm not reacting because, like, JT is making perfect arguments. There's nothing for me to really add here, really. The thing is, in institutions like this, for example, like New York Times and any of the more well-established ones, you can have new journalists that are extremely hungry to, put the truth out there, etc., etc. But the people that get senior editor positions and so on are very close friends to the owners, are chosen in senior editor positions because of their ideological biases, and they kind of function like the ultimate filter through which everything needs to drop before it actually goes on the front page or the front web page as it is nowadays. So all of these institutions have an internal mechanism that makes sure that journalists who might actually want to mention something a bit more radical don't end up saying it. Sure, I'm not calling these places as, completely devoid of journalistic integrity. I still think there's some left. I'll, live in my own little bubble of naivety, I guess. But those stories need to be so insanely well researched, so insanely, the burden of proof in these sorts of institutions is so massive on any journalist that wants to say anything that's against the status quo, but the burden of proof for articles that they know they can make them a lot of money and that just continue the ideological current that is present at CNN or at the New York Times or at Fox is far, far lower, if you get what I'm saying. It's not like, it's like, oh, evil fucking constant censorship, etc., etc. No, the editors really easily run with a story that confirms their biases and request incredible Pulitzer-level research from journalists that want to comment on something opposite.
Own admission against her best judgment, she cited an extremist group with a long history of debunked lies, and the IDF reservist who started the false rumor of a baby being cut from its pregnant mother and beheaded. That did not happen.
Exactly, but he pushed back in a time that was trying to paint the IDF as saints, yeah.
Even the Israeli media had to walk that one back. Of course, the New York Times didn't feel the need to mention the soldiers' lack of credibility. Even
alternative media is on the rise. It's even insane that we get to call something mainstream or non-mainstream, as if quote-unquote mainstream is supposed to be more legitimate, etc., etc. We should call media with history and media that has proven itself as a valid source when it comes to the coverage of world events as, reliable quote-unquote media. But the fact that the piece of media, that the media company is massive should never tell you that they are less prone to bias. Funny enough, quite to the contrary, them being massive means that they have the funds to grow. Them having the funds to grow to such a scale means that they're both extremely profit-driven, but also that they have mass investors, which obviously pull back their money whenever the reporting is not in the line that they want them to toe. Now people say, no, we have great independence from our investors, and the investors, don't really have influence over our editorial, integrity, etc., etc. Okay, I'm not taking a word for it. You know why? Because you don't take the word for it for state-run media, and you say, no, these are completely brainwashed servants of Beijing or of the Kremlin or of, I don't fucking know, the Malaysian government or the Filipino government or the Ghanaian government or the Brazilian government. So if you do not want to give them some leeway, while existing in the same structure of bosses with particular perspectives and your profit motive that links you to them, you can't talk shit about state media either, okay? In my opinion, they're both equally biased, and that's just how opinions work, and media is sharing your opinion out loud. The problem is that they say that it's not an opinion, okay? It's not an opinion and an attitude informed by ideological biases which are created because of the system in which they find themselves in. That's it. There you go.
Family members of killed Israelis deny the stories, with the sister of one victim saying their story doesn't make sense, and her brother-in-law saying the media invented it. And this is a difficult topic to talk about, because every single decent person on Earth is against sexual...
Us over the D program admit to our state-affiliated media hat. Oh, I wish. I wish. Oh, yeah. By the way, my most favorite D program merch by far.
Violence. People who perpetrate such acts should be locked up for life, and that's being generous. But when the world's most respected newspaper fabricates a story, provides knowingly bogus evidence, and weaponizes these accusations in the service of getting the American people to support genocide, that is evil. It's a powerful accusation because you can't argue against it without mountains of data. You can't just wave off accusations of sexual violence, and that makes it...
Exactly. It's always the burden of proof is put on whoever is defined as the enemy of the current status quo, and the current status quo when it comes to Israel in the United States is that it's a developed Western white nation that does things better than the brown hordes of Palestine or any of its neighbors, right? They don't say that out loud, but it is always a given. Internalized Orientalism, I keep talking about it because I genuinely think it's not talked about enough. You don't have to be running around the street calling somebody an N-word or a sand N-word and so on for you to have inherent biases towards certain cultures and nations. And when it comes to international geopolitics, everybody takes it, puts no burden of proof on countries like Germany, France, United States, Canada, Britain, and so on the topic of what they say we immediately need to take up as truth. Just look at von der Leyen saying a sentence and everybody's yes, we fucking salute. And we also salute the anonymous gifter, also known as Xi Jinping. Thank you very much for the anonymous donation. We salute.
看看到我们被用剑击在革命江山。
嘿！
Very difficult for the average person to push back on propaganda like this. Thankfully, The Intercept has now provided that evidence, and I would highly recommend you all bookmark it to send to people who try to use debunked lies to legitimize their support for the genocide of the Palestinian people. I won't be the first to point out that this story might just be the worst case of journalistic malpractice in living memory. It's up there with the lies that started the Iraq War. This article directly contributes to the massacre of thousands of people. Thousands. And there will not be any consequences. Okay, so the media lies. We all know that. But they've been especially bad about Palestine. Why? Why are they so invested in covering for atrocities? Well, there are a few reasons. First, Israel, for a very long time, has functioned as a bastion of Western influence in the Middle East. A nuclear power fiercely opposed to all the US's enemies, happy to host American soldiers, happy to train American cops, and more than happy to accept US funding to keep the region perpetually destabilized and under constant threat of nuclear annihilation. Israel is a useful ally for the United States, and that means it gets unconditional good press. The second reason is that AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, is incredibly powerful. AIPAC, like any other lobbying group, wields tremendous influence over government policy by virtue of handsome donations to relevant politicians. Their spending has ramped up enormously since 2018, which coincidentally is when you start to see a much more favorable spin on Israel stories in the media, as well as an even softer stance from politicians. And would you like to know who the biggest recipient of pro-Israel money is? One Joseph R. Biden. Between 1990 and 2024, Biden has received over $5 million in funding from pro-Israel groups, including AIPAC. So you've got two very compelling reasons for the media to cozy up to Israel already. But there's one more that people don't generally talk about. Most of our politicians just have god-awful politics. Many of the people in office today have been in government for decades. They're ancient, decrepit ghouls who are so out of touch with the average person that they've bought their own propaganda. In their mind, the United States is truly the best country on earth. And if that's true, and Israel is our staunchest ally, well, then Israel must be good too. Yeah, some of our politicians are bought, and some are genuinely evil. But never discount people just having bad ideas sometimes. That's not to let them off the hook, just something to keep in mind with people in general. So what does all this mean? What's the bottom line here?
And as always, at least one honorary mention of snake eating its own ass. You have people with money that push a certain agenda through media, and then that agenda becomes mainstream. And then because it's mainstream, it starts enforcing the attitudes of the elites on a particular topic. So they started a particular attitude, but now it's become mainstream, and now it informs continues to inform their attitude. So it does not allow them to really even change their perspective because, hey, this is what the mainstream is now. This is what is culturally and socially accepted as the quote-unquote right opinion to have. So we will continue having it, because even if somebody in the elite circles of politics or capital was to change their mind on a particular topic, they've already made it mainstream through their actions. So they can't really change it because it's mainstream now, and they don't want to sound like a loony bin.
If we have a government that is willing to disregard not only the vast majority of countries around the world, but also international law, the majority of their own citizens, and basic human decency, and we have a media apparatus that is willing to carry water for that regime and brainwash the masses into supporting incredible evil, then it is our responsibility as human beings to take matters into our own hands. There's an endless stream of footage and independent reporting coming out of Gaza. You can find it on Twitter and Telegram especially. Amplify it. Share it with your friends, your family, your co-workers. Do your part to help people understand that neither our elected officials nor our media represent the average person. They represent the interest of capital. And 9 times out of 10, those interests are opposed to what is right. People who work in news stations leak information to investigative reporters when they do things like the New York Times did. Or start your own indie outlet with your co-workers. People who work in shipping refuse to load ships bound for Israel. Heck, if you've got access to a jet ski, you can do what these people did.
Based.
I'm not advocating for you to do anything illegal. That would be silly. I'm just saying that there are things we can all do to
absolutely. Towing that TOS line, JT is an expert at least with almost 2 million subscribers. I am not advocating for you to do anything illegal. That would be silly. My boy. While dazzling us and increasing our sexual tension with this direct fucking view in the camera. My boy.
The power from the suits and the talking heads and force the changes we want to see.
Hey, I'm a talking head.
That's how it's always worked in the past, and that's the only way it'll work today.
Beautiful video by our boy JT.
I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that
go, if you have not subscribed to JT, you can get the fuck out of my chat right now, okay? Please, this link, go and subscribe to JT. We do not steal content over here. Thank you. You're a talking half-head. Yes, I am. Thank you, JT, for making this video in case you're watching this stream posthumously, because now you are asleep, not dead. I don't know why I said posthumously. Human asleep. Yeah. Very good. What a nice fucking chill stream during the day, man. My fucking brain is working properly. compared to this is almost the 4th hour of streaming. If I was to stream during my regular hours, this would be close to 11 p.m., 11 something p.m. So I really like this, and based on the incredible response I've had from my beautiful, beautiful chat, I will most likely make this a regular one out of the 3, hopefully in the future 4 streams a week is going to be one coming in at this time. I'm encouraged by all of you who have joined me during the stream, and even more by everybody who has both subscribed or donated subscription. Turns out all you Australians and Europeans and Asians that tune in this time are not, and South Americans, which are fucking watching past midnight, are not very stingy as well. So God bless. I fucking live for this. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining me today. Unfortunately, we will have to be bringing this little stream of ours to an end. We will leave the incel conversation for next time. I think we had quite a bit of fun today and learned quite a bit, especially about the currently developing situation over in Palestine, or specifically in the UN Security Council. Now, do tell me, my absolute beauties, I'm going to snooze this ad. Do tell me, there you go, don't say I don't do anything for you. At this time, who is streaming so that I send all of you beauties over to make their day? I believe Central Committee is streaming. Absolutely lovely. Let us send some of you beautiful souls. He's also watching Second Thought. That's fucking hilarious. Let's go and raid his head, say that I sent you, and go and have some fun over with Central Committee. Raid Central Committee. There we go. Thank you as always for tuning in. The next stream is going to be on Sunday. On Saturday, I have like a big party that I need to go to. This is the birthday of a pub, my favorite pub in this town, which will most likely leave me hangover. But we're going to chill. We're going to talk politics. Maybe we're going to game a bit on Sunday. I absolutely cannot wait. Now go, enjoy Central Committee. Send him my love. Make them come over and follow this channel. And have a lovely, lovely motherfucking weekend. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me as always. Look out for the schedule. Follow me on Instagram. I post on the stories there. If you want to find my Discord, it's again in the description box below. In the Discord, we have built a very nice community throughout the years, and we will continue building it. Not only that, but we also constantly remind you that when the stream is going to come, etc., etc. So please give some invites to the Discord channel over to my mods, etc., etc. If not, I'll do it, or you can just write !Discord and you're gonna get the link. My Instagram is in the description as well. I post some drunk stories when I'm out into town, etc., etc. very commonly. Thank you so much for coming on in such a big number on a road to becoming a 1K view Andy, as they say. Have a good one. Go. I love you. Bye bye.